You're listening to the Dragon Between podcast, a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign set in the Eberron pulp fantasy setting created by Keith Baker. New episodes are recorded every Sunday and released on the following week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel for clips and future episodes. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter for updates and news on the podcast. And now on with the show! When we last met, the characters continued to explore the system of underwater caves within Cliffside Harbor. After encountering dangerous fungal spores near a collapsed section of a tunnel, the group encountered a fish-like humanoid called a marrow that immediately attacked Ender with a harpoon. Characters all dispatched the creature and then elected to take cover and wait and see if more came looking for their missing companion. The group then watched in silence as a second creature appeared and began to drag the other dead marrow away towards the cavern moonpool entrance. The creature was alerted to the group's presence and immediately attacked, dropping the wizard down. The party responded in kind and defeated the creature. Unbeknownst to the characters, a third marrow dragged the other dead companion away in the midst of the fighting. When the characters followed after carefully, they observed a trail of blood that led off into and had begun to cloud the water. As the group crept forward, a harpoon suddenly pierced Ender's chest and yanked him into the water like a fish on a hook. The group leapt into action and saved their friend, destroying the lurking marrow and discovering a hidden underwater passage. After a rest, the group collected their things and continued on down this newly discovered pathway. At the end of the winding tunnel, the party discovered a stairwell that led up into a meeting hall. As Lithana crept forward, she was immediately attacked by a rug of smothering, which wrapped around her. Gunthral quickly reacted and grappled with the creature and shoved it into his bag of holding. The group then pressed on and found another connecting chamber filled with beds and chests. After Eli triggered 2 deadly traps that dropped him unconscious, the party regrouped and continued on, following yet another tunnel towards a large cavern chamber filled with pews and robed figures. Near the rear of the cavern, located just behind an altar, loomed the massive yet silent form of a warforged titan. The robed individuals chanted in some strange language as the group watched on from the stairwell. The characters were quickly discovered and a battle ensued. The Shunner's gang then revealed themselves to be lycanthropes and infected Lithana with a nasty bite. The battle raged on and was abruptly ended when the seemingly sleeping or dead Warforged Titan sprang to life and crushed 2 of the gang members and then went dormant once again. The group tended to their wounds and utilized Eli's magic to rest up. Afterwards, the group descended the stair into the chamber, seeking proof of the gang's defeat. When Ender attempted to remove the Titan's head, a large water elemental emerged from the rear of the cavern, attacked, intent on destroying the half-orc. The battle was fierce, and Eli attempted to communicate with the elemental, but it was beyond reasoning. Striking as a cohesive team, the party managed to defeat the creature, and then looted the chamber for useful items. The group then prepared to make their way back to the moon pool and out of the watery hideout.
Woo! That was us.
And that is all I have so far in my book. Was it good? What do you think? Did I get everything? Oh,
It seemed pretty thorough to me.
okay. Oh, and Eli killed the Warforged. Yeah, that's a good ending.
What? No, that's not what happened.
Yeah, well, says it in the book.
Gunthral begins striding forward and sort of whops you on the back of your shoulders and goes, "Well, did pretty good, little fella."
Yeah, I know, I did pretty good. Well, speaking of good and killing things, maybe we should head out. I think,
History is written by the winners.
see? And we're winners. So we can kind of tell our story how, anything we want. But I think it's a good time to leave now.
Did we get everything we're looking for?
Oh, You did cut off heads and thumbs, so I think that we're good.
Oh yeah, and it's still in her hand, like she's still got it, like holding it by its hair. Yeah, these were.
And that is disgusting. Oh, well, let's go, guys.
Gonthral is just sort of standing back. He's been shoving a golden idol of some sort into his bag, and with the other hand, he's currently chewing on the end of a dead fish.
Oh, Gandrel, that's kind of gross.
Oh, well, my apologies. Would you like some?
No, I'll stick with this head. And she starts moving towards the entrance.
Well then. I want to gross you out. I understand. Not all folk interested in fish. It's delicious though. So good.
I'm gonna ask Gunthral if I could store this head in his bag. I'm gonna give him the Warforged head.
I wouldn't open my bag right now unless you're planning on fighting that damn rug again.
You know, that thing could be quite useful, you know, in the time that we need.
And as Gunthral he pulls the bag of holding up, which he has now transferred into his backpack. You've seen that through the course of resting, Gunthral has managed to transfer most of his items that he's using currently out of, and is using the bag of holding as a prison for whatever this magically manifested creature is. This carpet.
I see. I'll carry the head myself then.
Oh, this thing? And he walks up and he grabs with one arm, lifts it up over his shoulder, and he's carrying the massive head onto right there, cradled on his bicep.
Perfect.
I'll drag this thing out. Don't worry about me. I don't need any help.
So, are we going to get out of here? Or are we going to grab some gold?
We did have an area we could keep searching. I'm digging in the notes here for that shareable. Could you reshare the map?
It's in the images folder. You can pull the map up from there.
Go to images, then you click all.
New. Go to new.
There we go. And shut our hideout.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time I have to reshare that map, it just slows down the system.
Yeah.
Right. I remember now. I recall that being very irritating for you. There's an area that we haven't quite checked out yet. I'm waiting for it to load.
But I can go ahead and reload the map if you guys wanted to continue to spelunk in the cave.
I could. And Lefana makes her way over to Ari. Is she still a bear?
Yes.
And I say, hey, Ari, did you hear about the druid who would wield swords when he used wild shape?
I'm just gonna cock my head over at her and look at her like, what?
I hear he had the right to bear arms. Get it? Bear arms? It's funny, right? I know I'm hilarious.
Oh god. Ender's gonna be laughing at that.
Eli's just gonna have this blank stare, like, oh my goodness.
Guys, I've got a whole book of them in my bag, so if there's ever a moment that warrants it, or just chucking a joke, you know, like the
Hey, Ari, how exactly does a bear sound when it laughs? She went red face there. Yeah, there's
Well,
this
guys.
center room here. To this, if you guys are looking at the map, there's that one room that we haven't quite explored yet. I'd like to go take a peek. You know,
You're talking about
Jeremy
this
made
one?
this map. We should search it.
How about this one?
Yep, that's the one.
after you.
All right. So in this party formation, let's have you leading it, Lathana. I'm right behind you.
All right, if I'm all right with that.
Or we could send the bear down the hall first.
Stealth might be a good option.
I'm trying to remember. Did we have Pass Without a Trace or
I think that would have been worn off after we did our short rest in the after the fight with the Warforged. I don't think we turned it back on, or
that's right.
before the fight with the Warforged.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll scout ahead, and I'm going to walk through the curtain, kind of push it aside, and walk my way down the hallway.
Okay, Lathana, as you peek around, you see a passageway that opens up a little bit. You see another couple of stalactites that are merged with stalagmites that form these columns up to the cavern ceiling. And you see another wide crevasse that plunges down into darkness, and a bit of steam is rising up.
Do I notice anything of interest?
It smells foul in here, as if perhaps this was used as a place to relieve oneself by something.
But they had a restroom.
Strange,
They
huh?
literally had a restroom just down the hall from this place.
Hey guys, she's just gonna walk back. Just going to.
So what'd you find, Lathana?
Well, it's
Well-
just a.
Lathana, you step in something soft and squishy
Uh,
that
It's-
smells really terrible.
Could be just a soft rock.
it's just a giant turd hole, so nothing to see there.
Well, I'm prepared to go.
I mean, oh, I guess do your business.
And I'm gonna go in there and
you do a bathroom.
I'm gonna go in there and test that one out too, and let me know how was the experience compared to the last experience.
Oh, when you found a turd in a latrine?
Yeah, I mean, would you say this was a 5-star review, or because the last one I used, I mean, I gave it a measly 3-star. Like, I wasn't quite impressed. It wasn't fantastic. You know, it wasn't very spacious. There was no lovely scenery. There was just this red poopy drape in front of me.
Well, I can tell you that it smells far worse than any other chamber that you've been in within this underwater cavern system.
Okay, well, then I'd probably have turned around.
And make a Constitution saving throw.
Here I go. $15. Well, that's a save.
As you come through the curtain back to the rest of your companions, you're feeling a little queasy. And after a few quick, short breaths of the briny air within this cavern system, you're all right.
You're such a jerk, Jeremy. You're just a jerk. What would you have done to me if I had failed that? Actually, I don't care. I don't want to know.
Oh man, Ender, you stink.
Lithana, you begin to you smell this horrible stench. Then you're fairly certain it's coming off of Ender, and then you begin to look down at your left boot, and your left boot is caked in some sort of muck, and you realizing that the smell is coming from you.
Oh, dang it. Eli?
That is disgusting.
Do you happen to have the thing that kind of cleans it up?
Yes, but I have to be in touching range.
You're swimming behind us.
I quickly walk over to Eli and I'm like, clean me up.
You're swimming behind us.
I slowly. Oh, it's a 10-foot radius. Stay far away from me. And I cast Prestidigitation to see if it works. Cleans her up.
What a germaphobe.
And as you make the incantation and say the words Eli, you watch as this muck just seems to sift off of her boots, including any other crevices of oily dirt and things that have collected. All of your items and bags have dried out within the 8 hours that you slept within this the magical space that Eli created for all of you. Of course, that won't last for very long.
Yeah.
So Gunny begins sort of restlessly moving around the room, and he begins heading towards the location of the stairwell. Looks back at the rest of you and says, "Well, I don't know about y'all, but I want to get paid."
That's a great idea. I think we should head back. And
Go nuts.
24 hours is running up.
You'll know that go ahead.
Without another word, Gunthral disappears down the hall. Into the water, you hear the sound of a sploosh as his large form splashes down the stairs into the briny tunnel and disappears under the water.
Yeah, I'm following him.
Okay.
I'm gonna be right on his tail.
I am as
Close to him as possible.
Auri, how does your bear swim? Is it like a doggy paddle?
I think I'm gonna go back into my regular form to swim. I think I'll swim better.
You don't want that wet bear fur?
No.
All right, fair enough.
Splish, 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 splish.
Sploosh. Into the briny water. As cold as you remember it to be. And as you pass through the many chambers of this cave system, you don't encounter any more resistance. In fact, it's eerily quiet in this place.
Oh man, it's very quiet in here.
Well, we've done our job well then.
Hey guys, I don't know if you remember, but we kind of drowned our mechanical crab. How are we gonna tell Granda about that?
Oh, we can easily bring it back. I'm pretty sure there's a way to eject the water.
Do you remember the manual, Eli?
I would have to recall. I don't remember at the top of my head.
You had your notes, something like that.
So I take it you're all continuing on, and are you having this conversation above within the moon pool area, this entry point before you go back into the water, or because right now it would be more like a blub 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 blub. You're all hearing
Yeah, I
that.
realized that as we were swimming. It's more like. I'm gonna point to the grab thingy. I want to try to swim to it.
Okay, you
Blub, 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 blub.
exiting the cave system. You make your way through the long dark tunnel, flooded tunnel, back towards that round stone carved aperture with the very narrow opening, circular opening. And as you pass through, you can see through the darkness. It's actually pitch black now. Gunny's been holding on to one of you because he can't see Jack right now. So he's been holding on to whoever is closest to him the entire time. And as you are exiting out into the harbor, you can see within the darkness of the harbor with your dark vision just out of range. You can see like shapes of things swimming around, fish and other creatures, and you can see the familiar sight of that large barrel-like vehicle.
I want to swim to it.
Okay.
I'd also like to be close to him in case of danger.
Sure.
So not directly on top of him, but at least in the vicinity, playing scout.
Okay. And as you swim catty-cornered to Eli, watching as Eli begins to reach out and touch the outer edge that opens the hatch that's on top of the barrel-like device. You don't notice anything, just from your peripheral looking around. It's very, very dark. The water is murky. Your best guess, it's probably the middle of the night right now. And Eli,
I see.
as you enter into the cockpit of this device, you can see all of the familiar levers and buttons and toggle switches. And you remember the switch that closes the hatch and forces out all of the water within the interior of the chamber.
I wait for the fauna to get in, and then I'm gonna push the button.
Okay.
Can I mean right after Ida?
Blub, 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 blub.
Blub, 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 blub.
I'll grab Gundrel's arm and bring him closer to it as well.
Yeah, I'm going to hand motion you two to get it on the sides.
I will hit the button as she is inside.
Okay. Lithana, as soon as you enter in, the hatch above seals shut, and Eli hits a switch, and immediately there is an expulsion, a jet expulsion of all of the liquid within the chamber as it very quickly drains. And as it drains, you're all sitting now waterlogged within the interior of this vehicle.
How neat. That's so cool.
Are you ready to drive?
Sure.
I'm gonna get Gundrel seated on top before they take off.
Before you take off, okay.
And I'm going to heat the lever that tells us to start and steer my way back to where we came.
Make an intelligence check to see if you remember how this device works.
Oh boy. Oh, look at it. The 16.
It's not bad. It takes you a moment. You know, I've only had access to this device for a few hours, but you're fairly certain that you have the correct lever, and you reach out, pull it, and the vehicle begins to move forward. Now, do you wish to swim under the surface of the water, or did you want to rise up to the top and breach the surface of the water of the harbor?
I'll swim underneath it for a bit. Once we get close to the dock, go back up.
Okay. Well, you know, you're pretty sure it'll take you approximately an hour to get back to the area where Grinda's workshop is on the edge of near Mistshore.
Hey, Eli,
Yes.
can you keep your eye out for any treasure this time?
Uh, okay.
Not read or write in your book, please.
As he's like reading, like,
Eli, would you like to turn the lights on the
Ooh.
front of the vehicle?
Hmm.
Because right now you guys can't see jack inside of this vehicle. It's completely pitch black out there. Even opening the port windows on the right side, the left side, and the front of the vehicle, you're just seeing just beyond from the interior of the vehicle, which is not lit. You're just seeing shadows and shapes in the murky, briny water ahead of you. No light. But
Yes,
Eli,
I'll
you
turn on the light.
you remember the spotlight.
Oh, I was supposed to turn on something. Oh yes, and I hit the switch.
Okay, as you do, Auri, Gunthral, Ender, you all watch as the lights in the front of this barrel, like mechanical lobster creature, immediately illuminate in front of you. And all five of you look out. Eli and Lithana looking out the portholes. You can just make out what's in front of you. Gunthral, Auri, and Ender, you all see a rather large dragon about 50 yards away, and it looks like it's eating something.
Blub, 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 blub. I'm gonna be pointing at it.
Eli,
And as soon as the lights turn on, the dragon's head like sort of stutters and begins turning towards you, and you can see the light shining under the murky water, illuminating its eyes. Its eyes are shining from the lights of from the front of the vehicle.
Ender has picked a bunch of fights in this campaign so far. I just would like to suggest that, like, he has no motivation of doing that this time. Feels like an ant in that dragon's presence. So before you go shooting me with the harpoon gun, just because I gave someone a dirty look, don't.
Gunthral, Auri, you glance over, you see Gunthral's tensed up, and he is reaching for his weapon. What would you all like to do?
I'm gonna try and grab his hand and like stop him from grabbing his weapon if I can with both arms. I know he's a lot bigger than I am.
Yes. As you reach out to grab, you realize that your hand just fits around his thumb. Like, his thumb is large in your hand. And as you reach out and grab him and stop him from immediately touching and grabbing the hilt of his weapon, he turns in the dark and looks to you. All he saw was the lights turn on and a big creature in front of you all, 50 yards away, which is now swimming towards you all. You just see like the cloud of silt from the riverbed, which kicks up and swirls around it, and it's slowly sort of undulating like a snake on the ground but underwater, coming towards you all.
All right. I know the solution here. I'm gonna take my fist. I'm gonna look down, put my face in front of the window so I get some eye contact with Lithana and Eli, and I'm going to take my fist and slam it against the door and look panicked and go. Hopefully they understand what I'm saying is go.
All right, what are you all doing?
I will use the lever. Do I know how to activate to open the claws? Pinchers on the machine.
Okay.
and I put the pedal to the metal.
Okay. As you begin to swim up you only go about 10 feet every 6 seconds. It's not very fast. So as you're going up, you're hitting that lever and you're hoping and you're expecting an acceleration, And as you begin to rise up, you just watch as this dragon creature, which was making a beeline for all of you, within about 10 yards, immediately diverts and begins swimming, and its head stays looking at you, but its body moves as it continues to swim and now slows down, and it swims off into the distance a bit. Just in the dark, you can see as it goes out of the eyesight of the lamps which were illuminating it. Now, Ender, as you look back towards it, you can see that it's turning around and it's coming back towards you, and is now following behind you all.
Okay.
As long as we go the speed limit and we follow all traffic laws, we should be okay.
Do you see the dragon? I think I lost it.
I can't talk to you guys. I'm underwater. If I bring my ring up to my face and I talk, you guys still just hear incoherent gargle.
Well, what are you guys doing? Are you guys continuing on? Which direction are you going, I should say? Are you heading north, south, east, west, up or down?
I believe we were north of the city, right? We were, I think.
Eli, where are we going?
I believe we're going back to that the lady's house.
Yeah, what direction is it?
I think we were north of Sharn.
Jeremy, does Eli remember what direction it was?
Make a survival check.
Ah!
Alright, Letana's going to try to see if she can remember this well.
I think it's east.
Eli,
We're going the wrong way.
Eli, you think you know which direction is east, so you begin to maneuver. I think Lathana is actually the one that controls.
Yeah, she's driving.
Yeah, she's driving. So she would technically be. I would accept your survival as you. Eli, you're telling her to go one way, and Lathana's like, no, this way. As you're pointing completely the opposite direction. And as you begin to turn the vehicle one way, Eli was reaching around, panicking, grabbing the levers and trying to turn you one way, and you slap his hand away from the levers and you begin to turn the other way and slowly spin the apparatus around. And as you do, you see the dragon now, which is coming straight at you all, and it looks to be about 40 yards away. What are you all doing?
Can anyone speak with this me?
Activating pinchers.
I don't think that's going to help.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I'm totally at the mercy of you guys.
The dragon now plunges down underneath your device and reaches out with its clawed hands, reaches up and grips the side of the device. There's a violent bump as it grips the side of the device, and then it immediately begins swimming upwards very quickly. Like there's an acceleration, and I need Ender, Gunthral, Auri, I need you all to make strength checks to see if you can hold on. I'll make a strength check for our good old Gunthral. Okay. Oh my gosh. He rolled so badly. So, Auri, you managed to grip on with your hands to the side of the device. You watch as both Ender and Gunthral go whipping off from the acceleration of the device moving upwards. And Ender, as you whip off, you see that the dragon's head is immediately behind the device, and its mouth is now opening, and you are zipping and twirling along with Gunthral straight towards its open mouth. And as you get close to it, the mouth suddenly closes, and you are boom, 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 on the front of this creature's face. Would you like to hold on to its face, or would you like to let go and keep floating off into the distance of the water as your friends move on?
No, I'm grabbing the dragon's face. I'm going to assume that because it didn't try to eat me, that it's probably ferrying us or something like.
Okay. Through the darkness of the water, you see that Gunthral now has grabbed onto the lower lip of this dragon, is holding on for dear life, and he looks out and he holds his hand out to you, and then points towards the dragon's head, and then makes a fist like he's gonna punch it.
Well, I'm going to open my fist at him like a stop.
Okay, make a strength check
So
as you try to hold
like the
on to its
opposite.
face. Okay,
12.
You just managed to grab onto its nostril, and there's an expulsion of bubbles from its nose that kind of tickle your face as the bubbles rise up to the surface of the water. And after a few seconds, suddenly there's just this immediate, just a loud explosion of air and surf as the dragon's body breaks the surface of the water, holding the apparatus of Qualish in its outstretched hands. It flies up into the air and then sploosh into the surface of the water. And you just watch as the Qualish is now let go from the two hands, is now floating on the surface of the water. And you see this dragon now, which is now looking at you with one eye and looking at Gonthral with the other eye. And it says, "Hey man, you mind getting off my face?"
I let go of his face immediately as soon as he makes a noise.
And as soon as you do, Gunthral is just sort of staring ahead, straight ahead into the eye of this creature. And now he very, very meekly slides off of the creature's face into the water, begins paddling towards the apparatus. That was a bit gnarly there. Well, sorry about that. Didn't mean to scare you all. How you doing?
I'm going to doggy paddle back to my vessel and look back at him and thank him. I'm good.
I haven't seen y'all before around this area. My name's Zell. And he, with one of his dragon hands, you see as he sort of waves, a little side-to-side action, waves at all of you.
Pleasure to meet you, Zell. I'm Ender.
Ender, you seem like a good chap. Nice to meet you.
Well, this is unexpected.
I'm gonna be like, Lathana, you think they're eaten by now? By the dragon?
Oh, I don't know. Do you know much about dragons? What color is?
I don't know. If you want to go check, the hatch is right there.
No. How about you go check?
In the moonlight, you can see sort of the dragon has several horns that stretch back from its head. You can see a very pronounced frill that starts at the back of its head and rises up several feet above its spine, all the way down to its tail. And it has very large wings. And it looks like this.
I was waiting for this.
As you stare at the creature, this very large but clearly younger bronze dragon. Its skins have striations of sort of like a greenish hue in the scales that sort of stretch off down its neck, and there's sort of like a warm, almost like within the moonlight, you see that the surface of its soft parts of its neck on down to its chest and belly is just sort of like a cream color.
I'm gonna ask Zell. I'm gonna ask him what he's doing out here. What brings you out here?
Oh, just having a snack. Getting close to midnight. It's when the more dangerous types come out, and I do my best to keep them off off the shore, keep them away from the docks. This is my home, I have to protect it.
Do you know much about the cave we were leaving?
Oh yes, that'd be Atherus's domain. I don't mess with him, he leaves me alone.
That's the water elemental?
Yes, he's a water elemental. Sure.
I'm gonna explain to him that there was a troublesome gang there, lycanthrope, that were worshiping him and up to no good. So we are also keeping these waters safe alongside him.
Make a persuasion check.
Eli's gonna open up the hatch.
And as you do, Eli, you see a very large bronze dragon, which is sort of floating in the water, and just kind of you can see that it's very, very, very slowly sort of floating and bobbing this way and that way, and it raises up one of its claws and sort of picking its teeth, and you can see a bit of what a chunk of wood. It sort of reaches up and knocks it out, and it goes flying and skipping like a stone in the water off in the distance, and it says, "Hello!" As you come up out of the hatch, it waves its other claw that it wasn't picking its teeth with, towards you. How's it going, man?
I think I can use my wisdom for my persuasion checks or something. As samurai.
So Zal kind of looks at you, but he doesn't appear to be necessarily paying attention to you now. As you said that, he was looking straight past you towards the newcomers that are emerging from the top of the apparatus.
Eli, Lathana, he's friendly, and his name is Zell.
Oh. Hi there, as Eli's eyes are just widened. Holy. Wow.
Hey, little fella, how are you? What's your name?
Eli.
Eli. You're one of them, Lorandar folk, aren't you?
Yeah.
You make the fancy ships?
Yeah. Is that a problem?
Oh no, I love those things. Oh, it's amazing. Not too long ago, I see them coming all day, every day. They leave the city, they come back to the city. I see them flying off and in all kinds of directions. I've even seen a couple that are underwater. It's amazing. It's just truly astonishing, this technology that you've all managed to figure out, and the ins and outs. And it's just, of course, I don't need such sort of thing. I can swim and I can fly. And as his wings, both massive wings, start to stretch a little bit and flick the ends of the wings, sort of flick the water out harmlessly, sort of splashing.
Yes, you can fly. Wow.
It's a wonderful thing to fly, I've been meaning to return to my home, but I like this place. I'm not allowed in the city, of course, but I like to hang out in the harbor. There's plenty to eat, and the folk don't bother me much. Made lots of friends.
Hey, Eli.
Yes.
Would this be a bad time to make a joke about dragons eating people?
I love jokes, especially about eating people. Come on out, little one. I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Oh, okay. And I climb out of the hatch. Hi, I'm Lathana.
I'm going to ask Lathana not to give him any ideas.
As you climb out of the hatch, it says, "Well, I can hear a voice, but I don't see anything. It's very strange."
Oh yeah, it's kind of my thing. Maybe that's better that way. But okay, I'll tell you a joke. Okay.
And
What?
he suddenly opens his mouth, and a little bit of crackling energy begins to manifest in his jaws, and you just watch as this gout of lightning arcs out in a 45-degree angle into the air and illuminates everything around you all for a moment. And Lathana, you are suddenly revealed for a split second as the lightning coalesces and brightens into the night air. And then he looks down, his eyes very quickly, his greenish orbs glowing within his sockets. They very quickly look down towards your direction and says, "Oh, there you are!" And he gestures with one of his claws pointing towards you. "Sneaky little one, that's amazing."
Okay, so here is my joke. Why do dragons refuse to eat paladins?
Well, I don't know. Why do dragons refuse to eat paladins?
Because they taste so lawful. Get it? Taste lawful. Yeah.
Make a performance check.
Well, no matter what you roll. Oh my gosh, never mind. Ender isn't in.
You know, it's not very imaginative, but I can see where you're coming from. And he sort of like is now, his whole lower half of his body is keeping him aloft in the water. The upper half of his body with his wings are, and he's got one claw clutching the end of his chin, the other is grabbing his elbow, and he's sort of sitting there with his head cocked, and he's sort of, You keep walking at it though, little one. You got something there.
Thank you.
So, what are you all up to today? I see you're all in the harbor, you're spelunking in the caves, and get into anything exciting, I hope? Nothing too dangerous?
Well, we did kill a gang. Evil threat.
Evil threat?
Yes, to the city. You know, they were hiding in the caves. We eliminated them. And,
Curious.
if you want to talk.
I'm gonna take over and say and just suggest like, I'm gonna say we helped. Hopefully, we helped take out a threat that was in the shunners, and I'm gonna ask the dragon if he heard of the shunner.
Oh, yes, the shunners. They're nasty folk. They're all were-rats, if I'm not mistaken. They don't taste very good.
Yes, you're right.
And they bite pretty bad.
I can attest to them tasting pretty bad.
You know, I love the chat with all of you, but we probably better be going. We only breathe underwater for so.
And Zelsa looks at you in your direction, the sound of your voice, and he goes, "Oh, I can breathe underwater."
Yes, but unfortunately we can't for a very long time.
And what would you say your name is?
Oh, my name?
He's in Zell.
My name is Zelafon, little one. But you could just call me Zell.
Where could we find you if we needed information or?
Well, usually I'm here in the dock, rolling around the docks in the harbor. Sometimes I go out to the sea. I make my way out of the hilt into the ocean. Try to keep all those nasty water folk out of the harbor, you know, that every once in a while they sneak past me.
I'm gonna hold up my ring and see if I can talk to him through my ring, if I think of him.
Okay. The ring, the stone flashes in the darkness as you are speaking into it. And as you look, he sort of looks at you, cocks his head to the side, and he's like, "You're a funny one. What you doing down there?"
And I'm just gonna put the ring back on and and say nothing. Nothing. I don't claim to be a very smart orc.
And he sort of goes, You know, I seem to remember a certain number of folk that wore rings like those. That one that you got on your hand, it glowed when you talked into it. That was a while ago. Haven't seen them in ages. Well, if there's nothing else, I will let you all do your business, and I will see you some other time, hopefully.
Maybe, do you mind giving us a nudge up to the second?
Oh, you want a trip back to the harbor, from harbor to the docks, is that it?
Well, you know, dragons usually know about treasure.
Yes, good call.
You could ask him if he knows anything about treasure around.
Why don't you ask him? You're right next.
Big Dragon.
Yep, Zell, that's my name.
Zell, yeah. So, you know, we were wondering, is there any treasure around?
Oh, loads. Of course, most of it's been picked through, and salvagers have come through and take it all. So most of the time, it's very slim pickings. I haven't really found anything of anything good lately. Most of my stuff I keep, of course, stashed away in my place.
Of course. But, you know, is there any that haven't been picked through? Any special or very dangerous one?
Oh, yeah. You won't find anything now. Like I said, the harbor masters, they've sent scavengers and salvage folk come through and picked all through. There was a couple of ships that got, unfortunately, sunk in the harbor, and they took all of the goods off of those that they could salvage. It's a very strange bit of business. Not really sure who sunk them. It was 2 ships, if I remember correctly. Most of that's all gone. It was no coin per se. Mostly just goods.
Okay.
But I'll keep my eyes open. I can usually smell gold if I sense it around me. I can usually smell it pretty good. Now that I think about it, there's a little bit of it coming off of y'all.
Yes. Yeah, if you would let us know if you smell any gold, anything in chips. I appreciate everything. Thanks,
Next time you come through and come by the harbor, I'll if I see you, I'll let you know if I saw anything.
I'm gonna hold out my hand to shake his hand, and then I'm probably gonna sit there for a second and realize that he doesn't have a hand for me to shake.
Oh, he does. He looks at you and sort of bemused. A big smile begins to grow on his face, and he sort of reaches out one of his clawed hands, and your hand just sort of wraps around his digit, like the end, like you can barely grip one of his claws. And he lifts you up. He lifts you up out of the water a little bit as he moves his arm up and down. I saw this once. This is what you do, right? This is what do they call this? Handshaking. And he continues to lift you up in the air as you hold on to the end of his nail. Why don't you make a athletics check for me? So as you're lifted up out of the water and then splooshed to get into the water, it's like you're being dunked, like a giant tea bag, a human size, half orc sized tea bag, being lifted up and dunked back into the water. And Zell says, "It's a pleasure meeting you all, especially you young lady." And he gestures over towards Auri.
Oh, it was nice to meet you as well. Could you let my friend down gently, please?
Oh, certainly. And
Thank you.
Zell very carefully moves you closer to the apparatus and sets you into the water. Ender. Gunthral this whole time, you'll have noticed, has just sort of been shredding water a few yards away from the apparatus.
Gunther, do you need help up?
No. Can we leave now, please?
I think it's about time, yes.
And he climbs to the edge of the apparatus and is holding on and helps you, Auri, get up onto it if you're still in the water.
Well, it was a pleasure to meet you, Zell. Thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure meeting you all. Well, I'm gonna go take a tour around the docks to the south and see if there's anything interesting around the mud caves. Good evening. And you all watch as the massive form of the bronze dragon Zell, he sort of very quickly, you watch him arc out, and his head, with his wings folded up against his body, arcs into the water, plunging under the waves, and his tail whips up. You can see the web bits that go all the way down his spine to the edge of his tail in this sort of like a flourish of fins. And the water, the wake from him splooshing under the waves sort of makes the apparatus rock a little bit. You all watch as his massive form disappears off into the distance, into the dark, and the briny river water.
Wow. Yeah, that's a big one, all right. I think it's time to go.
You know,
I'm gonna
in all my travels, I've still not seen one of those. So, first,
You guys totally missed it. Both Ender and Gundrel fell off of this thing towards that thing's face. I really thought they were both dead.
Well, maybe they should hold on.
yeah, Eli and I were having a running date inside the chamber.
I think we're just really lucky that he was friendly. We would have all been dead right now.
Speaking of that, we better get to the surface before we all drown. Hold on. And she hops back into the cockpit and starts up the.
Before you guys jump into the cockpit, Ender's going to point in the correct direction that we're supposed to be heading.
Thank you.
Just in case you guys didn't know where we're going. He does have an excellent memory with geography and maps. I could recall general layout of terrain, settlements, and other things I'm around because of my background.
Ender points to the east to the pinpoints of light from the edges of the cliffside harbor. And of course, as you all look up, gaze up into the night air, you can see that above the wall, above the city, there is a bit of light pollution from various sources of light above the city that just sort of, it's almost like a neon glow of different colors, orange hues, green hues, purple hues, in the night sky above the city. You can see little vehicles off in the distance, really small, almost the size of your pinky nail, that just seem to zip around from the overhead of the city. And as you all begin making your way towards the area known as Mistshore within Greyflood, it takes you about an hour. You arrive in Mistshore at approximately midnight.
Oh, it's late. You think she'll be still awake?
Well, if she knows we had money, I'm sure she'll be happy to.
You can hear off in the distance the sound of a den of creatures and animals and carts. You can hear the sounds of gulls off in the distance. Even at this time of night, you can hear them sort of trilling. And as you get closer to Grinda's dock, the underside of the exterior wall, which faces the water line, You watch as the door opens up as you drift into the shop, the workshop. And as you do, ever-bright lanterns are glowing now, creating this sort of a warm light that fills the shop. And you just see all these different apparatuses and vehicles and other types of devices that are held aloft with chains above you. And as your device sort of drifts into the interior of this area of Grinda's workshop, you all of a sudden hear the sound of a sound, sort of a klaxon bell, go off, and the light immediately shifts within the shop to that of a red, flashing light that seems to be emanating from the ever-bright lanterns. As you're all like piling out of the vehicle up onto the hard surface of the ground, you watch as in one section of the shop there's a light that suddenly emanates from a door that opens, and you see a sleepy-eyed woman carrying an ever-bright lantern, just rubbing her hand on her face. She's wearing a sleeping cap, which is sort of tumbled over the side. She's wearing a long gown and nothing else. She's a little bit thick in the middle, and she sort of shuffles up, looks out, and says, who's there? What are y'all making that racket for this time of night?
We brought you money.
Do you have any idea what time it is?
No. I assume it's pretty late due to the darkness outside, but we thought you'd want your apparatus back.
You could have brought that back in the morning. Very well, hold on. And she begins to descend this spiral staircase from the corner that led off into this upper level of her workshop. She comes down and shuffles forward and says, "Oh, I thought you were dead. Haven't seen you in nearly a day. I assume that water-breathing charm did the trick."
Well, we're not dead.
All right. And she begins to sort of lean, and she's shining her lantern around the edges of the device, and she's looking and sort of going, fine, okay. Everything seems in order. Very well, let's settle up then. I think we said 5%, correct?
Yeah, you said something about water breathing charm. What do you mean?
Well, what do you think I cast on you, silly? And she sort of reaches forward and knocks you on your head, on your forehead. Like, hello? Water breathing spell. I cast it on you before you left the other day.
Yes. Okay. I'm just making sure. So we did find a little bit of gold. Here's your share, and I pull up 50 gold. This is 5%.
You mean to tell me you're out all day long and that's all you found? It's awful suspicious.
Out all day long and only got 1,000 gold? Yes.
We were kind of busy killing other things and taking out the Sharon centers. So yeah, we weren't really digging for gold, if that's the right term.
Very well. Well, I'll tell you what. You tell the representatives from the Order of Orion that as far as I'm concerned, that's it. I owe them no more favors. I'm glad to lend out or hire out my services to them, but I don't want anything to do with their adventuring, their mercenary work. That's all. It's late. I want to go back to bed. If you don't mind, get the hell out of my shop. And as she gestures with her lantern towards the door, you can see now the door is now opening on its own. And you can see the light from like the lantern, which is on the exterior of the building, which is illuminating the dock area outside. You can just see there's no movement out there. It's clear night. It's hot. It's humid out. Even in the middle of the night at midnight, it's super humid.
Well, I think we could have come back here at a better time, a more reasonable time. I'll give her that, and I guess we should get an inn for the night.
Gunthro now is walking past all of you, has strode out the door, turns around and says, "Well, are you all coming or what?"
Sorry, Grenda. Good night. And I'm gonna follow him out.
Good night, dearie. It's no problem. I apologize for being cranky. It's just, it's the middle of the night. And as she says that, you all begin to file out towards the door and towards the exit of the building. You just watch as she is like pulls out a wand from within her robes, her sleeping gown, and she begins wafting it in the air. You can watch as chains are now ratcheting out. You're hearing this loud ratcheting noise as they reach out and are now going underneath the apparatus, which is being lifted into the air out of the water.
Wow, she really is quite strong, huh?
Yeah. Very powerful.
One by one, you all exit the establishment, and as you do, the moment the last one of you steps out of the building, the door slams behind you, and you hear this loud ratcheting sound of locks clicking, and just like one after another.
Well, and she walks up to Gunthro and kind of slaps him on the forearm because she can't even get to his shoulder. And she's like, "Well, let's get this man a turkey leg." And all of us for that. We haven't eaten for like a whole day.
Well, I assume that you all consumed some rations while you were resting.
Anywho, I'd like a turkey leg. Let's how do we get?
Gonthro has looked at all of you, making sure that you're all here, and he says, "Well, come on, let's go." And he begins walking off into the distance. Now, keep in mind, none of you have really discussed a direction. He just seems to be wanting to get out of this neighborhood.
Did we take a sky coach this time?
Well, we could take a sky coach back, and so we can get paid. I think that sounds like a great idea.
Should we find out if Renaer's even awake yet? I mean, we don't want to wake him up the way we woke up Grenda, do we?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
We could use the rings. We can just see if he's awake. If he is, we can go to him. If he's not, we'll wait till morning.
Bethana holds up her ring. Hey, you're Renaer. Are you awake?
There is a few moments of silence, and then you hear sort of like a sound of shuffling papers and the sound of something like maybe a cup being placed onto like a wooden table or a surface of some sort. And you just hear, "Hello, this is Renaer. Who's calling?"
It's Lithana Aisha with our group taking out the Sharon Centers. Yeah, we just got back, and we need a way to get back and get...
"Oh, I'm at the inn right now. I'm up in the in the library." "Yeah, we can settle up now if you don't want to wait till morning. That's no problem. I'm still awake."
Do you think you would? We have a place to stay there. You should ask him. Ask him.
Is there a place to stay in the inn for us?
Of course, all members of the order are welcome to stay if there's space. Currently, there's no one staying here within the grounds, within the manor. You're all welcome to stay.
All right. Can you send a sky coach?
Well, I don't have one at my beck and call right now, but I mean, I imagine You're a resourceful group. I'm sure you can figure out how to hail a sky coach.
Okay.
Then that's what we'll do.
All right. Well, I will see you all later. About how long do you think it'll take you to get to me?
Approximately. How long did it take last time?
Well, let's see. Last time you guys walked, if I remember.
Cool.
So let's see. Yeah, I think it took you about a half an hour to walk.
Like 10 to 15 minutes.
And if you took a sky coach, you're relatively speaking, it would probably take you guys about 6 minutes.
"10 to 15 minutes," is what she said.
10 minutes, about 6 to 10 minutes versus, like, let's see. 10 versus 20. So you'd cut your time in half if you hailed a cab.
Do I see a cab around anywhere?
Make a perception check.
Alright. Natural 20.
Lithani, you can see various vehicles that are rising up in the distance above the tops of the buildings within Greyflood, off in the distance. Greyflood, of course, is a warehouse district, so there's not a whole a lot of smaller buildings. It's really large, blocky buildings that are sort of pressed up against each other. From the edge of Mistshore, where there's less vehicles or less activity right now at this time of night, you don't really see any in close proximity that you could try to get their attention. You do, however, see what appears to be off in the distance, about 100 yards away, a carriage that's being drawn by 2 horses. And you can see what appears to be a very lithe individual who is seated and is currently pulling away from the district, from this area.
Hello? She attempts to whisper and it doesn't. Hey, hello, cab please.
As you're rushing off in that direction, you're yelling out.
Yes.
Okay. As you do, there's sort of like a whinnying noise as the horses are pulled. You hear the sound of a woman's voice yelling out, "Whoa! Slow down!" And you just watch as there's suddenly a lantern, an ever-bright lantern, is pulled out and held out aloft over the edge, one side of the cart from where the driver's section of the cart is at the front of the carriage. And you see a woman with red hair, and she has sort of a tricorn hat on. And she looks around, and she's a little bit thicker in the neck, like she's a little thicker in the midsection. She's wearing a long bluish gray colored coat, which you can see in the light illuminating from the lantern. She says, "Yeah, what do you want?"
5 people to take to Trollskull Alley.
Trollskull, hop in. That'll be a silver sovereign.
Sure, I can do that.
You're good for it, right? No free rides.
Yes, we got it. Come on, guys, there's a cab. Come hop in.
I'm right behind you.
I jump in. You said a silver.
Yes. Silver
I'll pay you
sovereign.
silver. Here you go. I'll give her a silver right now.
She grabs it. As you flip the silver sovereign up to her, she catches it in midair and she looks at it for a moment and then sort of sniffs it and then bites on it. And then one side of her mouth. And she says, very quickly, and it's gone into her pocket. You can hear the sound of coins hitting each other and tinkling within her as she adjusts herself. "All right, get in." And she takes the ever-bright lantern and hangs it on a hook on the side of the right side of the carriage. and she now is getting ready. Like she's gonna just start going without even checking to see if you're all on the carriage or not. She just very quickly, yeah, and flicks the reins, and the two horses, the one horse immediately lurches forward, and right side of the carriage starts to move, on the cobble street. Next stop, Troll Scout. And as you all leap onto the carriage, it begins going away. Gunthor doesn't crawl inside. He just sort of stands on the little bit of a lip that's on the back of the carriage, holding on to the back of the carriage as you're all bumping along, riding within the vehicle.
Wow. Well, we did it. And she kind of sits back in the seat, tired from the adventure.
I'm going to ask Eli if he's come up with a name for us yet.
A name for us? What do you mean a name for us?
Yeah, we're a party. We should have a name. I mean, if you're writing a book about us.
Oh, but the name of the book always comes last. You know, I always have to think about it for a while.
All right, I'm gonna nod and agree. That's a satisfying answer, I guess.
Lithana has some dice in her hand, and she's kind of just throwing it up in the air, catching, and throwing it up and catching. I mean, I don't know if you know this already, but I'm a bounty hunter by trade. I don't know if I really stick to parties unless I have a purpose. Kind of the, lone wolf kind of thing. You get it already. You can be.
I mean, even wolves travel in packs sometimes, right? When you find the right people, the right family.
Yeah, that's true.
I think we're all kind of loners. Some by choice, some not by choice, and I'm going to look over at Eli.
I don't appreciate that, but I will think about the group's name.
What are you just insulting Ina?
I'm gonna shrug a little bit and kind of smirk a little bit, like I just made a pretty good joke.
All right. Well, since we're all talking about who's a loner and why you're here and where do you all come from? What brought you to this moment in time?
I kind of look at Ender. I said, "At least I don't smell." And I'm gonna cast prestidigitation on myself, Lathana, Gunny, and Ari. And I look at Ender. You. Ooh.
Gunny's not in the cabin. He's hanging out on the back of the carriage.
Oh, he isn't. Wait, where did Gunny go?
And as you turn around, Eli, you are greeted by the very large, helmeted face of Gunther, and he says, "I'm right here, sweetie." And then his face disappears from the side window of the carriage door.
Oh. Well, anyway, I'll think about the name, and I'll give you guys suggestions later.
I'm gonna smell my armpits a little bit and shrug it off like I don't really care too much.
Okay, but as I was saying, what brought you all here? Where do you come from? And who do you work for? Why are... I'm always curious to get to know other people I'm working with. If we are going to be what you call a party.
I'm gonna tell you I'm from east of Sharn. I have been settled in the marches, but now I'm out traveling again, wandering.
And I'm the loner.
I found you guys.
Well, I'm a bounty hunter, so I work for my family. They are the Aisha Weapons Company. You probably heard of them. We sell weapons to whoever needs them, and I take care of the people who get on our bad side. You know, if you catch my drift.
A weapons dealer.
Oh yes, you know, there's always someone who's fighting with someone, so it's good business, I guess. And we're pretty fair. If you don't double cross us, we're fair to you. If you double cross us, well, then you get on the Thanos list.
How long have you been doing that?
Well, it's my family, so I come from the Aisha family. All my brothers, sisters, cousins, we're all part of it. So, since I was born, I guess. I mean, at first I didn't like kill people. I killed like rabbits and deer and bears. Oh, I'm so sorry. But you know, what about you, Artie?
I mean, you guys are kind of the first friends I've really had. I came from north of here, the Elden Reaches. I lived with a woman in a cabin. She was like my mother to me. Taught me how to read, write, speak, and do all of the cool things I do, like turning into animals, and I miss her a lot.
Do you stay in contact with her?
Oh, no, she passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, humans just, they don't live as long.
Hmm. What about you, gun troll? And she tries to get out the window.
Less talking. More getting to where we get money.
Yeah, the better way to get talked until we give him a turkey leg.
Are we there yet?
Yes, are we there yet?
As you look out into the streets, you're now seeing the familiar sight of the illuminated multi-story mansion, which is just floating above the area known as Sharn's Welcome. And you can see that you're now a few blocks away. And you hear the familiar sound of the woman who's driving the carriage as she leans back over the side and she yells out, "Yeah, hold your horses. We're almost there." And after a few more moments, your carriage comes to a rolling stop. Whoa! As the woman pulls back on the reins, and she yells back to you, "All right, here we are, Troll Skull."
Thank you. And Lefana steps out.
I'm gonna step out and I'm gonna flick her another silver.
She very happily takes it from you.
Thank you.
A man who tips his Uber. I can respect that.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. And with that, she flicks the reins once again, says, "Hey-ya!" And the two mares very quickly start trundling forward and heading off east away from the mouth of Troll Skull Alley. And there's not much movement even at this time of night. It seems like the sailors have all stumbled off to areas they're finding their rest for the evening. There's still a few individuals who are ferrying up and down the platform, which rises up from the little park that's nestled at the mouth of Troll Skull Alley, which was converted from presumably the foundation of the building, is now a beautiful park with trees and a few statues. And as you all reach the platform, there's not very many individuals riding up at this time. In fact, there's only one other person on the platform, as the rest of them have now exited the platform. And one by one, you all step onto it, and it begins to raise up above the top of the rooftops of the Troll Skull Alley proper and Sharn's Welcome. And you find yourselves now in the familiar sight of the courtyard within this floating tap room. And you can just hear within, you can hear the sound of the folk within. The doors, as they open up, and a few individuals exit, and you begin heading into the tap room proper. You can see that there's not that many folk inside. The fire is still burning off in the corner of the northern section of the manor. You can see the familiar sight of the barkeep, the woman that was there before. She's currently walking around, and she's flipping tables up onto the other tables that are empty as she's cleaning them off. And she turns around and looks and says, "Bar's about to close. Afraid you're all going to have to find some other place to drink." And she just sort of mindlessly continues to wipe down tables and flip the chairs up onto the tables. And as she does, she walks past one of the tables. There's an individual who appears to be sleeping off whatever drink he had that evening, and she just sort of grabs the edge of the chair and yanks it out from under him, and he comes tumbling off. So, oh, sorry, lady. Oh, I fell asleep again. So sorry. That's all right, Neville. You be off now. All right, you just have enough time for one more drink. What do you all be having? And she gestures now towards the rest of you.
Are we gonna drink, or are we going upstairs to eat Renaer?
And do you still have any meats that you're selling today?
Oh, I'm afraid the kitchen's closed. All I have is a few nuts, maybe some salted meat. I might have some salted meat, I'm not sure. Neville might have eaten it all.
Yeah, that'd be great. The big guy, he's going to
Gunthrow just walks past you all, and he stops at the end of the counter and grabs one of the empty tankards that's just sitting there, lifts it up, looks inside of it, blows into it, and a little bit of Jetridus or whatever, which was within it. He pours the little bit of liquid that was in there into his mouth, sets it down, and he says, "I'm going upstairs." And he immediately strides towards the sigil, which is on the ground, takes his meaty fist out and sort of punches the wall with the ring, and there's a brilliant flash of light as Gunthrow immediately disappears.
Well, better be after him. Thank you, ma'am. And I'm gonna go over and follow him and do the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to be following as well.
One by one, you all begin filing towards the teleportation circle on the ground and present your rings into the wall, and you're bamfed out of this level of the floating manor. What about Eli and Lithana? What are you guys doing?
potato.
I will follow.
Okay. You all find yourselves within the meeting hall of the second level of the manor. Familiar to you because it is, in fact, the place where you were given this mission. And as you all look around the room, you see the fire is burning. It's like it's been recently stoked. And you can hear off in the distance, you can hear a bit of light music, which is playing off somewhere within the this level of the manor. and you can just hear the sounds of feet on a wooden floor that seem to be getting closer to the chamber which you're all in right now. And the door opens, and the familiar sight of your new patron, Renaer, as he enters the room, and he says, well, it's good to see you all. That you all seem to be doing well, and none of you have fallen in battle. That's good. So how did you fare? And as he begins rounding the table, he is now pulling out a thick tarpaulin sack from the side, which is clasped shut, and he now sits it on the ground, the edge of the table with like a meaty thud, just like a boom, right on the table. You can hear the sound of the coins clinking together all at once, sound of metal on metal.
Ooh. Is that our gold?
You got proof that you completed the task? Of course it's your gold.
We have. Lithana, didn't you have some sort of something you took from them so that...
Oh, yeah. And she opens up her bag and pulls out the head and the fingers. Here you go. Here's your proof. You want to see it up?
Well, this all seems to be well in order, I'm sure. Obviously, these will be verified back at Orion Tower. And, you know, if everything is all in order, it should be fine. In the meantime, I believe this belongs to you. And he begins to gingerly lift the heavy sack of coin and presents it a couple of feet away from him on the table.
Hey, Gunny, where's the Warforged head?
Gunny has been holding it like a bowling ball with his hand. He's been walking through. And he's like, I got it right here. And he sort of thunks it onto the table, and it takes up about a third of the table. And as it does, the table sort of sags a little bit from the weight of the head. Got this too. And Renaer just sort of, his eyes go wide. He's like, is that what I think it is?
Yes, the job was a little more dangerous than I thought. Maybe a little more coin would help.
Well, I don't make that decision there, Eli. It was.
Okay.
You know, I only distribute the coin based on the higher ups. They tell me the job is worth. So if you got a problem with it, you want to take it up with them. But
Okay.
Was there a bounty for a water elemental by chance? A water elemental possessing a Warforged?
His name was Atheris?
Atheris, you say?
Correct.
No, it doesn't sound familiar. I know that, you know, the harbor, that area, there's water elementals all over. They're drawn to the activity of the various underwater ships that the House Sultar have begun to introduce to this area. They've been drawn to the water elementals that are bound to those devices, to those vehicles. So, I mean, Atheris doesn't sound familiar to me, but it might be familiar to one of the folks that, you know, has dealings with elementals. And he sort of gestures towards you, Eli, and he says, "I'm sure your family, your house, more than likely, they probably have had dealings with individuals that know of elementals as well."
Yes, that is true.
I suppose we hold on to the head until we find someone who knows more about it.
In the meantime, he drops a massive sack of gold into... he leaves the sack of gold there and he says, "Well, I'd say, you know, if there's nothing else, I'm sure you all would like to possibly bed down for the evening."
Oh, one more question. Does the name Nihilor mean anything to you?
And when you say that name, he sort of, his eyes widen a little bit. And he's like, "No, not really." Huh. Nihilor?
Yeah, Nihilor. that doesn't mean anything to you, or you've ever heard it, know anything about something to do with a Nihilor?
Oh no, I've heard of it. Not for a while. Huh. Where did you hear this?
Well, when we were down there fighting the Sharn Shunners, looking for them, we fought a bunch of marrow, and we found this skull, and it said "All Hail Nihilor" on it, and I was just kind of hoping maybe you'd know something about it.
Well, I mean, just rumors, really. Nihilor is, well, it's a name that was affiliated with the Zesh Guild, which is a criminal organization here in Sharn. Mostly stick to Undersharn. I've heard of Nihilor being affiliated with them in some way, shape, or form, but it's been a while since I've heard of them actually being toe-to-toe mentioned in the same circles.
Okay, well, thank you. That's more than I knew, so that's very helpful.
Oh, absolutely. I would say I would recommend that for a group such as yourselves, I wouldn't spend too much time messing with the affairs of the Zesh Guild. They've been pretty quiet for the last few months, but they're a pretty dangerous outfit. That's up to you. Again, I'm not going to tell you guys what to do or how to go about your business. You know, if you have business with this Nihilor, then by all means, you know, do what you got to do. And I'll let you know if the order, you know, if anything, if I hear anything, I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
You won't have to worry about this. I don't do anything without coin involved, so we're pretty good.
Well, it does make the world go round.
I did have one more question. The cat that hangs out in here,
Yeah.
does it have a name?
Well, he does. Of course, he's never shared it with me.
Well, worth a try. Thank you.
I haven't seen him lately. He comes and goes. It's really strange. I suspect he's not really a cat.
Renaer, I have one question for you as well.
Sure, go ahead.
Do you know of Zara Highhill?
Renaer was raising his cup up to his lips to take a drink. And he stops. And he sort of sets his cup down. And he looks at you. He sort of narrows his eyes a little bit. His brow furrows. And he says, Zara Highhill?
Yes.
Yeah, I know the High Hills. What of it?
Oh, I've been looking for her. We were the best friends growing up.
Well,
Or she might be in Sharn.
sorry to say, I'll be honest, I haven't heard from Zara Highhill in months. It's been almost 4 months since I've actually seen her.
Oh, okay.
Or
Well,
her husband, for that matter, or the people that he
oh, her
Miss-
husband.
Mr. and Mrs. Highhill, they were the founders of this place. They owned this place, and when they made it their business to ensure they with their companions to ensure that this chapter of the Imperio Arcanum would thrive, and that this would be a neutral meeting place for all members of the Imperio Arcanum and prospective members like yourselves. You know, they spent some time here a while back. To my knowledge, they were instrumental in that bit of business that happened over 4 months ago. Dangerous and deadly business that claimed so many lives. They were instrumental in stopping it, to my knowledge. I imagine they're seeking a little bit of rest and relaxation away from the prying eyes of the public who want to know everything they can. And of course, people in the intelligence community, nobles, kings and queens from all over the nations that I'm sure have inquired about these individuals. But as I say, I haven't heard or seen them in a long time. It's been months. I know they had allegedly they had a place somewhere in the city, but I have no idea where it is.
All right, well, sounds like she's made a name for herself.
They also,
And
it's strange, almost every single one of them, they and their companions, they turned in their rings to the Order of Orion once this establishment was upgraded and turned into what it is now. They all just sort of went their separate ways.
And you mentioned her husband. What's his name?
Well, that would be Nicholas. He, if I'm not mistaken, he works for the king of Brayland.
Ah, okay. Okay.
At least
well,
last I heard, he was working for the king. Was off working in some capacity or the other. He had a lot of ties to the Citadel before that bit of sorry business that happened.
Oh, well. Yeah, it's just trying to connect with her. I haven't seen her in many years. And her brother. Do you know? Did she ever mention her brother?
No, Zara never mentioned a brother really. I think she said she had family, and that she wanted to go see that family, but she never mentioned a brother. No.
Nash or Caster Highhill?
No.
Or sorry, Aisha. Nash or Caster Aisha.
You're the only Aisha I've ever met. If that was Zara's last name or perhaps her surname before she and Nicholas got hitched.
Yes. But I digress. Thank you so much.
No problem. And like I said, if I hear anything, about this whole Nihilor, if I hear from the High Hills, I'll let you guys know. I'll keep you in the loop. I need to go finish up some paperwork. I need to send in the morning. I'll have to send information to the order of the Orient Tower, just to let them know that you completed the task, and you also collected your fee for completing it. If there's anything else, I'm going to go ahead off to bed. There are several levels to this part of the manor. There's plenty of rooms. You can all have a private room if you wish to.
Oh, one question. Oh, sorry. Do we have another task waiting for us?
No, I don't have anything for you at the moment. I mean, nothing's come in as far as I know. I'll immediately summon you if something comes up. But
Okay.
You all seem to be like you are about to fall out over yourselves. So maybe a good night's rest might be a good idea for you.
Yes, it would be. Thanks.
Out of character, I should mention that you guys have already taken a long rest.
Oh yeah, we did. You're right. We took a long rest in that tunnel.
Unfortunately, you won't be able to take the benefits of a long rest right now. It'll be some time before you can go to sleep. You can sleep until morning, but unfortunately, you won't gain the benefits of having a long rest until tomorrow. Or should I say until tomorrow evening when you take another rest, because your rest essentially got you to about 11 o'clock at night.
Right. Well, I guess we'll just take the room for the night then, and just wake up in the morning at 6, 7 in the morning, when the when the city starts beating again.
Yeah, you guys just tell me what time you all wish to rouse in the morning. If there's nothing else that any of you wish to do for the evening, we'll transition.
I know Ender is secretly really insecure about how he smells now that his comrades said he smelled bad. So maybe can I get a room with a bath in it, or is it too late for?
Oh, there's absolutely a room with a big bathtub in it. There's a couple of them.
All right, I'm gonna try to score that room.
Okay. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, there's an actual bathroom with a big tub in it that can be used by anyone.
All right, well, dibs. That's what
Okay.
I'm gonna do.
So
That's how I'm gonna spend my evening.
So Ender's heading off to get himself a nice bath, scrub a dub dub. What about you, Ari?
I'm gonna just retire to her room, I suppose. She's probably just gonna meditate and stuff.
Okay. Gunthral has already left the room. He leaned his weapon up in the corner and just sort of looked at all of you and said, "Don't touch my stuff." And then he walked off. What about you, Lithana?
Eli, I'm not that tired. I have some dice in the card game. Would you like to play?
I would love to play if I understood what you said, but I'm going to go to the library and try to lead the language of which you talk.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
Lithana, you are now currently alone in the meeting hall.
I open up my joke book and have my dice out, and I'm going to read up on some more jokes the rest of the night.
Okay.
That means we're all alone. We could be attacked at any moment. D&D don't get any ideas.
What? What are you talking about? At some point in time, while you're writing in your book, Lithana, Gunthral sort of wanders in. His armor's off now. He's just wandering around in his skivvies, bare-chested, just slabs of muscle, scars. His skin is sort of like this stony gray color.
Don't forget about my fresh scar, my new one. I mean, literally, I was harpooned through the chest.
Yeah.
It looks
about
like a continent.
I was talking about Gunthral. So.
Oh,
They're
Gunthral,
both
sorry.
walking around.
Just in the buff.
No,
Gunthral
I went alone. Don't send Gunny in there after me.
Gunthral
I'm alone.
Comes in, grabs his weapon from the corner, just sort of hefts it over his shoulder, walks out of the room, doesn't say a word. Passes Ender in the hallway, just sort of like bumps him with his shoulder as he walks by. He sort of almost hits you in the head because he's much taller than you. Did you see that little lithe fella, Eli? Where'd he go? And he just sort of stares at you for a moment, one eyebrow raised up, the other one at rest.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking to Eli. Honey just told me that was directed towards me. I'm gonna just be like probably the library then.
Books. Well, I'll see you in the morning. And he just sort of wanders off down the hallway. Is there anything else that any of you would like to do?
Yes, Eli in the library. Is there any joke books in the library?
Make an investigation check.
This man has game. That seems like such an introvert way to handle a girl flirting with you, right? She's like, "Want to play a game?" And you're like, I don't understand you." And then you go research the girl that was trying to. Great work.
Supreme.
Bravo.
Out loud.
Bravo, Derek. That was
I know. Ari called
move.
it. Anna called it.
Pro move. Oh gosh.
Eli, you find a very thick volume, a series of volumes of books that appear to discuss the nature and the history of a traveling troupe of entertainers, and the origin of which is a dragon marked house called House Fjarlin. and you begin learning about, as you thumb through the books, the history of the entertainment troops, the bards, the acrobats, the circus within the house. You learn a little bit. You thumb through the Shadow Schism and how that sort of influenced a few different types of comedy. And you also learn that there are various places within Sharn and within Corvair, all around Corvair actually, where bards will travel, more popular ones, from the Carnival of Shadows and would perform and tell jokes. And some of them have produced books and pamphlets of their own. But mostly what you see within this volume is more like the history of how it sort of came from specifically that dragon marked house.
Okay. Any famous jokesters? Any famous bards that have a book about their jokes, their best jokes?
No, unfortunately, you don't find anything of that nature. You do learn that that there are individuals out there who potentially have published books over the years. So it might be something that you could find out in the wild, or find a bookshop somewhere, possibly.
I'm going to write down some of the famous bards.
Okay.
And is there any hint of what the book's called that I can find, or is it just like I need to know the names of the bards and ask the bookshop?
I would be more along the lines of you would need to. There's no specific names of specific bards within the books that you read. It just mentions that that style of comedy was generated from House Fjarlin.
Okay. Like I'm going to the bookstore tomorrow.
Okay.
And I'll finish reading and head to bed.
Okay. About how long do you all wish to sleep for the evening?
What time was it when we decided to head to sleep?
It was about 12:30.
So maybe 8 hours, 7 hours, 6 hours. I don't know what time is a good time for us to wake up.
Well, that's up to you. That's up to all of you.
That wasn't directed towards you. Sorry, I meant, hey guys, let's wake up at 7 a.m.
I mean, none of you really discussed your how your mornings begin, so let's just go around the table then. What time of the day does Ender get up in the morning?
I'm gonna get up at the break of dawn, and I'm gonna go down to the. Do they serve breakfast at this establishment?
Of course.
Okay, that's where I'm gonna head to. I'm gonna head to the food.
Okay, that'd be down in the tap room.
Head into the tap room at 7 a.m.
All right. What about the rest of you?
Lithana is still downstairs reading her book and playing dice.
So you spent all night long reading your book and playing dice?
Pretty much.
8 hours? Well,
she may or may not have taken a nap on the table for an hour.
Okay. What about you, Ari?
I'm gonna head down to the library at about 6 and wait until I hear from other people waking up to go down and eat and such.
Okay. So at some point in time while you're in the library, which is, by the way, no one else in this place in these levels. Renaer is gone. He didn't say goodbye really at all. Just sort of gone. He's not anywhere within. You don't see him wandering the halls. At one point, you saw Ender begin to head downstairs. Lithani, you saw Ender passing you as he headed towards the teleportation sigil.
Hey, breakfast? Ender?
Ender?
Breakfast.
And what about you, Eli? What time do you get up?
Eli precisely gets up at 8 o'clock. Then he makes his bed, folds his clothes, casts predigitation on his clothes so the wrinkles go out, and then he slowly gets dressed,
Okay.
sprinkles a little perfume on him to make him smell very nice, and he's gonna head down to breakfast. About 8:30.
Okay. So, Lithana, if you don't head downstairs with Ender, you see a very prim, proper, and clean Eli wanders into the meeting hall. And Auri, you're hearing all the sounds over the course of about an hour. You've heard the sounds of people walking around upstairs. Do those sounds draw you out of the library? Do you go to the meeting hall where Lithana has been?
Yeah, I'm gonna head that way, but I'm gonna see Eli looking all suave and just kind of stand back just to watch and see if anything happens.
Make a stealth check, Auri. So, as you're walking out down the hall, you just happen to glance over Eli as you're walking through the double doors into the meeting hall where Lithana was last, and you just see Ari sort of leaning out of the door frame where the library was, creeping, staring in your direction.
I kind of turn around. Hi, Ari. May I help you?
Oh, hey, yeah, no, nothing. Let's just go down and get breakfast.
Okay. It's like this isn't normal or something. Like I don't do this every morning.
Good morning, Eli and Adi. Excuse me, breakfast?
Yeah, we should. We absolutely should. And I'm gonna go through and leave those two alone.
I'm feasting right now. I had already started.
Okay.
And by breakfast, she meant for the person who's serving breakfast, if there is a person.
As you all begin to make your way down to the tap room, which is not open, and it's open to the public. It's not thrumming and thriving with activity at this time of the day. From what you've gathered and what you observed since you've been in and out of this establishment twice now, is that it appears that activity seems to more taken in the midday to afternoon and evening hours of the day. So right now you can see there's a few individuals. There's a gentleman who's sort of leaning against you all sort of walk past him as he's leaning against the end of the counter. And he is wearing plate mail. Helmet off, sitting on the end of the counter is a very long greatsword, which is leaning against the counter. Gunthral is currently seated by himself, and he has all of his armor on, his helmet off, and he is shoving food in his mouth like he's a man about to die, like it's his last meal. He's just grabbing whole hunks of bread and just shoving it into his face. And as you all ferry yourselves downstairs, you find places to seat, either with Gunthral or by yourselves, or possibly at the bar.
I'll sit over with Gunthral.
Guthrie looks at you.
Yeah, I'll probably, when I first go in there, I'd probably sit next to Gunthral.
Hey, so we all got paid last night, right?
We did.
So who's responsible for giving me my money? And he's looking around now, his one eyebrow raised. Because you all haven't really divided that up. I assume that the sack of gold was taken by one of you.
I think honestly, Eli probably would be the one to have grabbed it. Yeah.
Yeah. And he
Okay.
stores it in his robe.
All
His
right.
special robe.
So did you wish to divide that up at this time?
As I hear Gunny say that, I'll come and sit down. Oh, and I pull it out. And he starts counting. 1, 2, 4. and hands out and divides all of the gold in the party.
Okay. I will go.
Lefana,
I will
Go
go
ahead.
ahead and distribute that to all of you.
Lefana wants to check and make sure that he is being forth.
You noticed that there were a few extra coins that seemed to slip into Eli's, sort of like separated just a few. A couple of gold pieces, a couple of platinum pieces that he just sort of he slides them away from the pile as he's distributing them into these even 5 piles of platinum, gold, silver, and copper.
Lefana gives him the stink eye and says,
Oh, I wanted to make it even for everyone. There was not an even number, so I figured that the extra goes to the counter and the banker.
and
And he slowly slides the the small amount of that left over to himself.
yeah, and she takes out. She has this little on her leg, like a strap with throwing daggers on it. She takes out her throwing dagger, sets it on the table, and scoots the change and divides it up to everyone else.
It's not much. It's like 3 copper, 2 gold pieces, and 3 platinum pieces.
Oh, okay. Here's 1 copper. I'll take the gold. Oh, and Gunny can get the silver. Are you happy now?
Sure, I'm good with that.
Oh no, there was no silver. It was 3 platinum.
Oh yeah. I'll take 1 platinum.
Looks like you already lost the platinum, my friend. Sorry, but
I'll take the platinum and I'll hand I'll divide it, quote unquote, evenly by numbers, but not by money amount.
Well, that's kind of hard to do with the platinum coin. There's not really an exchange place here within the tavern. You can do that. Can't go up to Lydia and be like, "Hey, open the register and give me change for these platinum."
No. What I mean by is I divide them, but like I said, I take 1 platinum and I give somebody else a copper. Like, oh, I take 1, you take 1. I take 1, you take 1.
Okay.
So it's divided, and then say the money amount was even.
He just sort of looks. Gunthor just sort of looks at you, and like food crumbs are getting in his beard and falling onto the table, and he just sort of winks.
I was trying to tell Gunny how to do the math. 1 for 1. It's good math. Equal.
You smell good.
Ah, thank you. Not for you.
Ender, during your short rest, did you want to heal up?
if you allow it, yes.
You could spend a hit die. I'll say you took a short rest. In fact, I'll mark you guys as taking a short rest.
I use one of my hit dice. Thank you kindly.
There we go.
What are we doing next? What's next on the our agenda?
Gunny is looking
I
around.
suppose this might be a good time to spend the money we've just made.
Gunny reaches out and grabs a hunk of meat from the platter that's in front of him, grabs it, shoves it in his mouth, and starts chewing noisily.
Well, I have a good idea. How about we open up a bank account? I mean, well, let me first ask, are we going to stick together or are we separating?
Out of character here. This is a hard one, guys. Back in character. I suppose. I mean, if we all keep making this amount of coin, I think it'd be best if we do stick together.
Well, I think we all get along, and I think our abilities kind of contribute to each other. I see no reason to split up.
Gunny sort of coughs, belches. Are we doing? Are we doing well? Work together well. Ender, you can take a hit. Eli, you smell good.
Lathan?
Well,
I think Gunny and me, we're both going to be smelling Eli awkwardly. Just like we have our arms around you and we're just breathing you in, like big brothers would.
Like fresh flowers, right, Ender? Hey?
Yes, they had flowers like this in the marches.
I'll take your word for it.
Oh, so pretty.
So Gunny is pulled out his coin, and he's sort of like opening the bag and going through it. And he says, "Oh, well, I don't need anything right now, at least. Any of you want to go out and buy something?"
I'm alright right now. About staying together, I mean, I agree. I think we work pretty well together, but again, my job is to be frank, hunt and kill people for my family. So, I mean, if you guys want to join me on that, I don't necessarily want blood on your hands, but unless there's something else we want to accomplish together.
Well, should we see that the order needs us anymore? I mean, I know they didn't have something for us last night, but maybe something's come about this morning.
Good point.
Well, you do have your rings.
We all yell into our rings at the same time.
In unison.
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys. I think it'd be a good time to spend our money though. I wouldn't mind, spending my I think I have 1,000 gold pieces. I think I could probably manage to. I really don't know what that amount really truly means. Like I don't know if that's a lot of money or not. Like I just don't know how much things are going for. Hypothetical here. How much would a better weapon be roughly going for? Or will I have to go to the market district to find out?
Correct. You would have to go out to a shop and inquire about that.
That's actually a really good question, Lathana. I don't know how we normally do shopping.
So,
I don't want to take up everyone's time by going and talking to a black.
After Lathani yelled into the ring, as you're talking to the group and addressing them, Ender, you all hear the familiar voice of Renaer pipe up.
Hey, everyone. My, you guys are up early. How'd you guys all sleep?
Sort of the sound emanates from your rings in unison, sort of like almost like stereo sound.
Very well. How about you?
Oh, I very rarely get a good night's sleep. I'm too busy. I wanted to say that the order, I got word back from them, and they wanted to express their gratitude for, dealing quickly with the Shunner gang. It was just excellent work all around. But we did receive a request this morning that requires a group that can be discreet if you're interested.
We're interested. Wait, see, guys, we don't have to break up.
Well, are you guys still in the tavern?
Yep.
Oh, excellent. I'm just down the street. I'll meet you there here in a couple minutes.
Okay, cool.
And
See you soon.
sound from the rings goes silent, and you're now sitting still sitting there. Gunthrow, just to hear the sounds of loud chewing as Gunthrow is continuing with his meal.
Well, Ender, about your shopping, I could help you out a little bit. I have some knowledge of, numbers and coin such, and magic. Wink, wink.
And
Kind of gives this awkwardly wink.
more like he's blinking.
Yeah, it's like a blink.
I'm also gonna blink back at you.
Gunthrow looks at Ender and says, "Hey, don't you be making eyes at my boy now. And he just sort of smiles and winks at you, Ender.
I'm going to blush and say I would never.
See that you don't. I've got eyes set on this one. He's good in a fight. And he's soft in all the right places.
Very strong caster.
Hey, Eli.
Yes.
Excuse me. I need Tyler to ask you a question. Get it? Tyler ask like a Tyler ask.
So
So funny.
the door of the establishment suddenly bursts open, and you see a couple of gentlemen there carrying a crate. It's thin, but it's tall, wooden crate, and they pull it in. And they begin dragging it in. You can all hear now Lydia from behind the counter. Oh, good! It's finally here. It's finally arrived. You can just set it up over there. Oh gosh, what are those things called? Just set the view screen up over the mantle of the fireplace, okay? And then very quickly over the course of like about a minute and a half, these two dwarven men pull out a couple of crowbars, and they start prying the wooden box open. And a bit of stuffing comes flying out as they begin raising up this very large, what looks to be some sort of crystal window. And there's a wooden frame, a dark wooden frame that is all around all four corners of this rectangular window. And they now hold it up aloft, and as their hands sort of move away, the wide device just sort of bobs and hangs in midair, and they just sort of very gently and gingerly push it into place above the fireplace. And as it does, Lydia reaches into the crate and she pulls out what appears to you as to be an atlas slate, which of course you would all know is the device that is distributed at various communication hubs around the city that allows you to look up the maps and information of various places and shops within the city. And she holds it up to her face and then holds it up to the large piece of glass, this sort of like a almost like a milky green. It's not quite opaque, it's not quite clear, and as she does, there's an illumination, and suddenly there is an image, a three-dimensional image, as if you're staring through an actual window, and you see what appears to be a halfling man, and he is staring ahead at you, and he says, "Welcome back to the Sean News Network. I'm seated here with one of the representatives, the face of Castellanter Corporation, Mr. Nash Capiscum. Now, Mr. Capiscum, can you tell our viewers why they should invest in what is clearly a much larger version of the Atlas slate? And more importantly, is it true what some are saying about the addictive nature of these types of devices?" And you see this half-elven gentleman who is resplendent with raven-colored hair, which is pulled back into a top knot, and he's seated in front of the halfling male with his legs crossed, and he smiles, and he's wearing a very dapper, fine clothing, like sort of like a silken, deep crushed velvet suit, and he smiles and he says, "Haha. You know, it's funny. Our Atlas view screens are nothing more than a tool that allows the people of Corvair to catch up on the news and communicate with their friends around the globe. The slates were just the beginning. They're the mere tip of the iceberg, so to speak. The Castellanter Corporation wishes to help advance the ways in which the good people of Corvair and beyond live out their lives. We just wish to reach out and help foster the continued peace between the nations. That's our hope." And the broadcast continues on as you're all watching this very strange device. And as does the halfling, after the talk back and forth between this man and this halfling man, the man now turns back and says, "Well, Well, that's all the time we have for today. I wanted to once again thank you, Mr. Capiscum, for coming in. I'm sure that I speak for many of the folks here at Sharn News Network. We're just absolutely brimming with excitement to find out more about some of the products that your corporation is going to unleash upon the people of Corvair. Tune in next week. We're going to have a conversation with someone that the folks of the city of Sharn, maybe you might not necessarily have a problem understanding or knowing. We're gonna talk to some of the more well-to-do individuals, some of the folk from the actual the movers and the shakers. We've actually got a sit-down interview with one of the counselors of the Council of Sharn. We'll let you know next. Just tune in a couple hours. We'll let you know who that is. And suddenly the three-dimensional broadcast, which looked like you were staring through a window, ceases. Just sort of fizzes out of existence. And it's now replaced with this ever-rolling three-dimensional image of rolling countrysides and cityscapes and forests and coastal lines. And you're just seeing like images of places that each one of you recognize as various towns and cities and places around Corvair. And Lydia is now, this thing's wonderful. And she pulls out the device and shakes it and yells into it, Byron! Byron, you piece of shit! I know you're out there! You answer me this instant! I know you can hear me! And there's a bit of a fuzzy image that pops up for a few seconds on the screen of what looks to be some sort of panther-like creature, which sort of like sort of crawls into view, looks straight ahead at you all and at Lydia, and then you just watch a paw reach out, boop, and the image flips up, and you're now staring up at what appears to be a ceiling, and you just hear someone say off in the distance, "Good boy." And the image immediately ceases. And then a few more minutes pass by, and the familiar sight of your patron, Renaer, your demo, comes as he walks into the establishment. And he walks through the doors. He looks in your direction. He looks past you to the mantle where he sees like, "Oh, hey, Lydia, the view screen arrived." "Yeah. Can't get my damn son-in-law on there, but seems to work just fine." And Renaer begins heading towards your table, and he says, "Hey, you were kidding when you said you would all be here. I hope I didn't keep you waiting long."
No, we're all here. What was that?
I'm completely entranced by the television.
"Oh, that?" And he gestures over his shoulder towards the large crystal window, which is currently floating, which is encapsulated in a wooden frame, which is floating without any sort of device that seems to be holding it in place. It's floating just above the mantelpiece, a couple of inches away from the wall. "Yeah, everybody's raving about those things. They're called Atlas Infinity View Screens. The Castellan Corp makes them. The same company that makes the Atlas slates and those really freaky 3D weird like sort of goggles that some of the taverns have started to pick up. Lydia refuses to order those. She doesn't want anything to do with those. But I have heard that you can test those out over at the House of Cheddar over in the Bazaar district." But yeah, Atlas view screen. It's like a larger version of the Atlas slate. Atlas slate actually comes with an Atlas slate, and you can use it to control it. It's an information gatherer. It displays programmed illusion images of actual recorded conversations. Very strange. It actually can be used to communicate like a sending stone. It's really crazy, groundbreaking technology. It's amazing, these things.
And as Renaer is saying all this, Lefana has zoned out, her fist kind of over her mouth, and just seems like she's deep.
So, you all mentioned interest in a serious job, serious task, right?
Yes. What serious task do you have any kind of leans in?
Now, Renaer now reaches into his travel bag and he pulls out a wax sealed envelope and he places it on the table and he says, "Now, I was instructed that this only be opened by a serious group. Are you sure you want to accept this task? This is going to be something much bigger than your gang problem that you dealt with the other day."
Did you see the Warforged head?
I did.
We're capable of much bigger things.
Oh, I have no doubt, but again, this
Ooh,
information.
nice, Eli.
This information is being filtered through the Orient. This is a request that they didn't even want me to know who was making this request. So just to give you an idea of how serious this is.
What's the coin like?
I don't know. I mean, they don't even want me to be here when you open the envelope.
Ah, okay. As long as it's good coin, then we have a deal.
All right. Well, if that's it, you don't have anything else for me. Lydia, I'll be back later to help you fine-tune that view screen. I've heard that some people have been having some problems getting theirs to like display like maps of the city and whatnot. If you guys don't need anything else, I'm just gonna head off.
Anything else? Anyone have anything else?
Leela, as you turn around, Gonthral is like inches away from you, and he's sort of just like, no, nothing else.
I think that's all, Renaer. Thank you.
All right, I'll see myself out. Bye, Lydia. And as he heads out the door, you're all seated around the table. Gonthral is sort of patting his midsection. Plates of food have all been reduced to crumbs and tidbits. And he's like, "What's in the envelope?"
Well, who should open it?
Should we open it here, or should we go back upstairs where we're alone?
Good idea. Might be better off alone.
Okay. So you're all heading upstairs?
Yes.
Yeah.
As Latana sees everyone moving up, she's like, "Huh? What? What? Oh, sorry." And she.
You all sort of one by one, single file, head to the sigil on the ground near at the rear wall, where behind the bar, but not immediately behind the bar. And you one at a time press your fist and the ring into the plate, and you all find yourselves within the meeting hall, with the envelope in hand. Gunthral says,
Well, go ahead, Eli.
"What are you waiting for, Eli?"
Oh, you want me to open it? Okay, remember what happened to the chess lesson? I'll just open it.
Okay. As you break the seal on the wax seal on the envelope, you look inside and you can see that it appears to contain 2 sheets of pentagonal-shaped parchment. The first one appears to have 5 platinum coins that are attached to it with red wax. Like the coins have been sunk into the red wax in a neat row. And on the second sheet, you see a few sentences that have been sort of written in like a cramped common. And I will go ahead and put that in the party's inventory for you guys.
Letter from V.
And I'll let you read it. If one of you would like to read it. Otherwise, I'll read it for you.
Okay.
You want me to read it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But read it like Eli.
You want me to read it like Eli?
Yeah, in his voice.
The paper... Let me see if I can get my Derek voice. Hold on. Hey, guys. These coins have many friends.
Okay, never mind.
Continue.
These coins have many friends who would like to meet you. Come to the northeast stairs of Myriad Tower, Upper City, at noon. Bring travel gear and those you trust. Also bring your sense of urgency and a knack for discretion. Give this parchment to the guard near the stairs, and he will let you ascend. And it's signed with this cryptic V. And Eli, you turn it around and you show this sort of very strangely written out V in sort of like a swoopy style, like almost like a calligraphy style. And there's a black silhouette, almost looks like a burn mark of a stylized lantern next to the V.
In my travels and dealings with all sorts of people, will I recognize this?
Make a history check. Or I'll tell you what, make an intelligence check. Let's see if you remember seeing this.
Hey, look at that. A 90.
Lathana, that symbol to you appears to be that of an intelligence organization within the upper levels of the Brailish government. You vaguely remember that it belongs to an intelligence organization called the Dark Lanterns.
Well, this comes from the Dark Lanterns. It's an intelligence organization.
Are they known to be good, or?
Would I know with that role?
You would know that they report directly to the King of Brayland, King Boronel.
Well, I hope they're good because they report directly to the.
Brayland would be the nation that you are all within right now.
Yeah. So the coin has got to be good, and I'm going to nudge at Eli.
Yes, Ender.
Way to sell us back there.
Oh yeah. I was like a little. He's like a little. And then, yeah. Almost went over his head, but now he's shaking his head. Yeah.
You don't get much approval from Ender, but you got it this time.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, I guess this could be two birds with one stone for on my end.
So we have to head this direction to this place at noon, and it's what, like probably 8 by now?
It's actually closer to 9:30 now.
9:30. So we have plenty of time to do our shopping errands, to get travel gear and such.
That's up to you.
Yeah, I'd like to spend that time better preparing myself before heading there, of course. I want to see if I can spend some of this money on items. I don't know if we want to do that at the end of the episode, or because I don't want to RP in just for my own gear with everyone here. I don't know how you prefer to do that.
That is entirely up to you guys. In the past, I have allowed for some role play when you guys are searching for items. I'm never going to be like, okay, you guys want to buy this? It's time to open up the DMG and see what items there are. That's not the way I work. If you guys want something, you gotta go find it. You gotta find a place in the city that sells it and go there.
Well, I was hoping to get a better, like a better weapon.
Okay.
Maybe a better bow or a better katana.
Okay.
But I think that it'd be kind of rough for me to find, a blacksmith that would be able to make steel like what I require.
I would say that if you wanted something like that, you would probably want to go to the upper wards, which is conveniently close to where you guys need to go, because you would all know, anyone who's been to Sharn would know that Myriad Tower is a tower with an ocean view. And Ocean View is located in Upper Tavix Landing. So it's like sort of like that southern, almost southeastern cluster of towers.
Question, Jeremy. Would I know of a place that would sell for a good deal magic katanas? Or like magic weapons, I guess.
I don't know how well versed are you in Sharn?
Or maybe just someone that would be able to reinforce my present katana.
You would know that there is within the University District, which is not too far away from Ocean View. There's a place, a district, and within the University District, there's a place called close to it called the Seventh Tower, which is a very very fine series of shops. Some of like the upper crust, like the highest of the high upper crust. There's also within Tavik's Landing. There's also a place called Silvergate, which is also caters to more of like the upper echelon of nobles and adventurers who have a lot of coin in their pocket. And those are areas that are relatively speaking are relatively close within like walking distance and or sky coach or sky carriage distance of Myriad Tower.
I see. The first place was called
Seventh Tower. And that's
Seventh Tower in the upper wards. Yeah, that's close by where we're headed.
It's okay. Yeah, Seventh Tower is not in the same district. It's in Upper Memphis Plateau. It's adjacent to the University District, and Silvergate is in the same ward, but Upper Tavik's Landing is like a long section of the city, so it's going to be like directly centered above that series of towers that plunges down into the area where the House Orion lightning rail comes in and out of the city. So relatively speaking, regardless of which one you went to, it would probably take about the same amount of time to traverse and walk between the districts to get to Ocean View, to be there on time.
I see. Okay. So we basically what you're saying is we have enough time to either go as a pack to go get what I need, or maybe divide up, or maybe right now what we should be doing is figuring out what we all want to do. Like I'm going to express to the group how I'd like to visit a blacksmith, a weaponsmith, and I'm going to explain to Eli that I need I'd like to either have my katana reinforced, or maybe perhaps find a blacksmith skilled enough in making, or that has wares.
Now, of course, relatively speaking, where you guys are right now, there is a blacksmith within Troll Skull. You know that. You would all know that.
Ender, let me help you a little bit. And I know you're not very familiar with magic, so if you had a blacksmith create it or design it or build it, it wouldn't be magical. You'd have to have that enchanted, which could take a long time. So if we are going on a mission, you wouldn't have it quite yet. But if we went to a magic shop with weapons, you could find something hopefully of your liking, and maybe you'd find it and it would already be done. Your choice, though.
You know, I've been to Sharon a couple times. There is this magic item shop not far from here. I'm blanking on what the name is. Run by this eccentric guy who likes to float and sit cross-legged.
Are you sure I don't know if he would have what we're looking for, but I knew of two places, the Seventh Tower and the Silvergate, both would have what I think he's looking for, or something similar.
I didn't think of the time it would take to get my weapon enchanted. I did not know that. Maybe it's best we set these things aside for now.
You don't want to get we could buy one already enchanted though. That's or
we could find that, but I fear that I wouldn't find the kind of weapon I need. In this area I doubt that they have katana smiths.
Well,
let's go check it out. That's what I'd like to do.
how about I can see what I can do. I I might be able to talk to somebody at the seventh tower or the seventh gate and see if I can get that time shortened. You know, no guarantees.
Ari, what would you like to do?
I'm fine when it comes to weapons and armor. I'm along for the ride.
Well, if I could turn into a bear, I think I'd be ready to go too.
It is pretty handy.
Very, very useful.
I wouldn't mind finding some type of armor that can change shape or appearance. It helps in my line of work, if you know what I mean.
Do I know of any kind of magic? Have I read anything magical? I guess kind of robe or suit of armor that does that.
Make an intelligence check.
Nice.
So you're straight up Google. You're like our team's Google.
I'm a walking book, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah.
That's literally the class.
You like pulled out a brochure. You're like, oh, this place has the best.
We should nickname him Fugal.
He reads a lot.
Fugal?
Yeah, Fugal.
So you're kind of thinking about it, Eli. What Lathana is saying about shop, you're remembering that there is a dealer within Redstone, which is a place which is in the upper levels of it's a nice set of shops, which is an upper Dura, which is a long running ward which borders the wall that separates Cliffside from the city proper.
I know of the place. I'm pretty sure. We can go check that out as well. But anyone else? Gunny, you need anything?
Well, Eli, do you need anything?
Yes, I do, but what I need is a little bit out of my budget at the moment.
What's that?
Well, I have read about it. There's a ring that stores spells, but it is a lot of gold. A lot of gold.
How much is a lot of gold?
It depends on the dealer. I don't know the exact price because, it could vary, but it is a rare item and rare items are very expensive, what I've read.
Could I help you?
Unfortunately, no, not in this. Rare items, but roughly between 50,000 gold to 100,000 gold.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh. We're going to have to do a couple more Sharn Shunner missions to be able to afford something like that.
Yes. A +1 weapon is an uncommon item. So, you're looking, 5,000, 1,000 to 5,000 range, which is on our budget. So that's why a lot of these items.
How much are these platinum ones? What is this platinum colored one? How much is that?
That equals 10 gold. Or is it 100 gold, Jeremy?
Sorry?
How much is a platinum to a gold?
Platinum to gold, I believe it is 10 gold, if I'm not mistaken.
It is 10 gold.
I see.
So, we can head out if anyone has anything else. I do want to. One question why I asked if we all should stay together is I was thinking maybe we open a bank account for our group and maybe donate like 10% of our earnings, each of us, to the emergency fund if we need like potions or different stuff like that.
I'm gonna just drop my money in your hand, like my my whole sack of money right in your hand and be like, how much?
10%. Uh, do you know how much gold you have altogether?
I'm gonna look at you blankly.
Uh, Never mind. I'll figure that out at the bank. We need to head to the bank as well.
10%, is that half?
Never mind. Anyone else? Or before we head out, I think the first stop is the seventh tower. Or Redstone. I think Redstone is farther way. The seventh tower that's
I
closer.
think if we're going to hit up both destinations, we're probably going to have to split. Maybe send Ari and Lathana down to the Redstone, and then you and we can head to the upper.
Yeah, that might be. Jeremy, do we have enough time to hit up all together, or do we have to split?
Well, right now, as you guys have been sitting around the table, time has just been passing. So as you're all been figuring out what you're going to do, it's now 10 o'clock. So now you have 2 hours until your meeting. So what all are you trying to do? Where are you trying to go? I'll tell you how much time it'll take you to get there.
Redstone, and then the bank, and then seventh tower, or any order, the best way.
Okay. Well, I can tell you that the bank is going to be located in Upper Central Plateau. That's in the center of the city. It's within the financial district.
Okay.
So all these places are all around the city. Like one's in the direct center of the city, Redstone's in the western section of the city, and Seventh Tower and Ocean View are like the southeastern southern part of the city. All upper levels of the city.
We took a sky coach. Could we make all of them before noon and be at the meeting place by noon?
Let's see. Sky Coach, you guys are in Cliffside now. So to get to Redstone, it would take you about 5 minutes via Sky Coach. To get from where you are now to get to 7th Tower, it would take you about 50 minutes with traffic. I know it's kind of weird. Probably closer to 45 minutes. Yeah, it'd be about the same amount of time to get to the banking district. So about 40 minutes. If you guys divided and conquered, one of you go to some of you go to Redstone, some of you go to the bank. You would all have enough time to get to Redstone and the bank, and then have just enough time to get to Ocean View. Roughly. Depending on how much time it's going to take you within the district. Should also mention, you're splitting the party.
We can do the bank later. We can hit up Redstone. It'll be about 5-10 minutes by Sky Coach. And then from there, it'll be about 40 to 55 minutes in the book. That's what it says. It says, caution, be careful of traffic. And then we can hit up by noon. And we have 2 hours.
Also, within Upper Dura, besides Redstone, there's also Cliffside. Cliffside is a place where you can go, in addition to Redstone, that is sort of like a blend of different levels of poverty and wealth of the city. So you could possibly find a few places, like not just regular shops, but you could also find some pawn shops. There's a place that you would know, Eli, called the Augury, which is a section of Clifftop known as the Mystic Market, which features like circles of magerites who have the ability to cast divination spells, detect magic, scrying, identify, locate creature. They also sell, some of them sell like locate and alarm spells. There's also an adventurers guild within Clifftop. And a place known as the Dragon's Hoard, which is a place that sells a wide assortment of items. Many of the Adventurers Guild members within Clifftop will go, and they frequently shop at that store, that shop.
Well,
If I may say real quick, it is confusing having 3 different levels of Sharn open on like with all the maps and trying to keep up with where all these places are. I'm glad that we're having you deal with all this stuff, Eli.
oh yes,
I straight up feel like an orc right now. I'm all like, okay, I found redstone. And it says we're here.
I just assume that Eli has pulled out an atlas slate and he's going through and he's just like flipping through like all of the different things that are within the city.
He's got to be, and he has like some kind of measuring tool out, calculating time.
I forgot about the atlas slate. I was thinking it was a book, but you're right. He would have an atlas.
Yeah.
Oh yes, see right here. All right, let's go.
All right, so what are you guys doing?
Let's go to Redstone.
Going to Redstone. All right.
Guy coach.
So as you all head out of the meeting hall level of the Impetu Arcanum and down to the tap room, Lydia always it says, "Thanks for leaving all that shit for me to clean up. Appreciate it." And you all file out of the tap room into the courtyard, and you can just see in the distance, you can see sky coaches that are zipping around through the district.
Wave up. We need a ride.
Okay. You can attempt to yell for one if you like.
Cast Fireball, Eli.
Okay. Yeah, how would you like to get the attention of one of these drivers?
I'm gonna wave my arms and look kind of stupid. Sky coach, like he hasn't really never done this before. Hello.
Make a performance check.
I hope if you roll a critical, it'll be amazing. Oh, damn.
Almost.
Still really good.
Almost. So a almost arrow-shaped metallic vehicle comes gliding to a stop on the edge, and the hatch opens on the side of it. This thing's almost shaped like an arrowhead. And on the inside, you see what appears to be a hobgoblin man with a thick beard. And he turns and he looks over at you and he says, Hey there. Customers, so early in the day. Where can I take you all?
We'd like to go to Redstone. How much would that be?
Redstone, 2 silver sovereigns.
Here you go. Here's 2 silver.
All right, is this all of you? And he's gesturing to the whole lot of you, all 5 of you.
Yes.
I'm going to answer and say, I am all of me.
Please, come on in. It's your money. Time is precious. And he now reaches out, and you can see now that he is adjusting a few instruments on the panel in front of him. And you can see now it looks like he has an actual atlas slate built into the windshield in front of this vehicle. And he's like pressing things on there, and you can see now map of Sharn, which was zoomed out, which is now zooming in, and he's pressing on the crystal, the green crystal, which is sort of shifting back and forth between green and sort of an amber color.
I think you almost said Google Maps. You said good for just a moment. You almost said Google Maps.
You said Google Maps.
Google. As you all enter into the vehicle, the hatch now closes with sort of like a pneumatic hiss, like a shoop, and it's closed. And within, it's very cool. There's almost like a cooling breeze that's blowing over you all now. And before, even in the early morning air, approximately 10 o'clock in the morning, it's super hot. It's middle of summer. It's humid. But within the cabin of this vehicle, which has again sort of an arrow-shaped design, and there's sort of plush couches that are all around the edges, except for the section where the entrance to this vehicle opens up. And there's a little bit of a table that's in the middle, and as you all begin getting seated within the vehicle, you'll watch as glasses begin to apparate, one after another, just, and they begin to fill with this sort of an amber-colored liquid. If you want a drink, I know it's a bit early. Some people, they don't imbibe this early, but I've got some good stuff. Got some mead. I've got some harak from the Shadow Marches. I've got some fermented honey milk from the Eldine Reaches. It's pretty strong and strange, but it's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, Lasana takes it, swirls it around, and gives it a sniff. Is it poisoned?
Well, I don't drink harak myself. It's more of an orcish brew, but the honey milk is pretty good. The Eldine Reaches, that's some strong but tasty.
Yeah, I'll take the honey milk.
Oh, it is fermented. I wouldn't drink too much of it in one go, lassie. And as he's been talking, the vehicle, there's a bit of an acceleration, and you all sort of lurch forward just slightly as it zips into the air like an arrow tilting, and you can feel the acceleration as it begins heading over the wall towards the upper section of Dura. Gunthrow now is grabbed one flagon of harak and one flagon of the honey milk, and he's now sort of sniffing both of them and starts sipping them. That's pretty good. Strong stuff. Oh.
So, remind me to leave him outside.
Would this be a good time for another joke?
Yes.
All right. The druid is going to like this one. Why did the sleeping treant look angry?
Why?
Because it had a resting birch face. Get it? Resting birch face.
He's so bad. I love him.
You guys, you liked my joke, right?
Yeah, Ender's laughing.
Eli pretends to laugh, like it's like he's trying to be cool and.
I don't get it. You hear the driver from front. Oh yeah, no, I heard the birch part. I don't get it. Hey, we're here.
Okay.
We're there. And
we're there. Oh, time to go, guys! Everybody out. We have.
And as the vehicle, Eli is trying to get out the door before the vehicle has even landed. Arcs out above this beautiful courtyard, and all of the marble has sort of like this sort of burnt orange reddish color. And you could see all of the shops spread within the district. Many of them, the front facades of the shops have these like multicolored silken like throws that are stretched out on poles in front of each one.
Well, we're here. Let's go in quickly. We have a time limit. And Gunny, what are you planning on doing? You staying outside, right? In the courtyard, chilling?
I'm just gonna be out here.
All right, cool. Thanks. All right, let's go inside.
As you're standing in the courtyard, you don't see the shop that Lithana mentioned. In fact, where that building had been described to you before, it's not there. All you see is some sort of like series of like joining pieces in the red stone as if something rests there. And there's a sign that says, in common, "So sorry that you caught us during our off season. You can catch us again if you travel to Rote, the capital of Brayland. We'll be back in the fall."
Oh, well, Redstone's closed. Everybody back in the sky coach. Hey, don't leave, don't leave.
Eli, as you turn around, you see that the arrow-shaped sky coach has lifted up in the air and is flying away.
He's like waving. Hey, no. Well,
And you're now standing in the midst of Redstone.
well, guys. Wow. I didn't realize it was off season. I must have missed that part. Well, someone else want to hail a sky coach?
I got this one. And with my booming voice, I'm going to start shouting for a sky coach as loud as I possibly.
Okay. You see what appears to be some sort of carriage that is being carried aloft by what appears to be some sort of flying griffin.
Yes, that's the one that Ender wants to be on. He's shouting like just half orcs below, like
It's
singing, yelling.
it's less a vehicle like the really nice one that you came to Redstone in. It's more of a chariot style, like the way it's shaped. It's open top, but there's a little bit of a canopy where the driver sits, so where he controls the reins of the griffin, and he peers over the side. It begins to list and tilt and spins around at a 180, and then the griffin, it flies down, swoops down, and the cart rests onto the ground and rolls a few feet and comes to a stop. And you see what appears to be some sort of rotund man with dark skin and sort of like chocolate covered skin, and he looks over and he says, "Oh, good evening. Yeah, greetings. Oh, evening. I'm crazy. Oh, it's the morning. It's been a long night. I apologize. I haven't slept. Oh, what can I do for you? You need to go somewhere."
Yes, we'd like to go to the 7th tower.
The seventh,
I'm still yelling. I say that I need to go to the 7th tower.
7th tower, you say? Oh, ritzy area. For sure I can help you with that. Climb on in. Don't worry about Bricklebeak here. He won't hurt you. And as he says that, the griffin is sort of like digging into the side of its shoulder, and it pulls out like a little tuft of a feather and then spits it out. And it sort of wafts onto the ground and rests on the ground. Climb all aboard. I can get you there real quick. Won't take too long at all.
How much would that be?
Couple sovereign, no problem. Of course, we're on the up and up here. We don't overcharge no one.
All right. Okay. How much is that?
And he looks, oh, let's see. What do you mean, how much is that? That's 2 sovereign.
Oh, two like silver.
Yeah, 2 silver.
Okay. Oh, yes. Here you go. Thank you. I'll give him a 3.
You give him 3 silver?
Yes.
Okay.
I appreciate you helping us.
Oh, no worries, no problem at all. Go on in. Let's get going. And
Everybody in.
as you all pile into the vehicle, which again is like a chariot. It's very nicely made soar wood, sort of like almost like a honey-colored wood, with metal fittings, and there's not quite as plush and as posh as the arrow-shaped sky coach was, but it's still nice. It's still very comfortable. Gunthral barely fits with his wide self on the seat, and he's sort of like his knees are up to his chest a little bit. The creature once again squawks and leaps into the air, pulling it. Hold on now! And takes you all off into the distance. And after a nice, bumpy but nice ride over the upper levels of the city, you find yourself flying southeast towards Upper Memphis Plateau, and you sit down within this place, which has a very distinctive architectural features that you can just see all the townhomes that are nestled within the neighborhoods. They're on the edges of the towers within this area. You can see off in the distance the large dome of Moorgrave University, And as you sit down, the chocolate-skinned man looks to you and says, "All right, here we are. If there's nothing else, I will be on my way."
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
"You're very welcome." And the large griffin now squawks again and pulls the chariot up into the air and off into the distance, flying away. Now, looking around this area, you can see a couple of really nice restaurants that appear to be setting up for a day's possibly midday to lunch. You can also smell very exotic, fragrant flowers from the different flower boxes that are hanging on the edges of these restaurants. You can see many different colors of flowers, roses and orchids, that surround the different boxes of each establishment.
Very nice. All right, this way.
And
I follow him, Eli.
you find yourself on around the edge of Thurius Tower. You see an area which has been nicknamed Little Zendrick because of the antiquities dealers there that maintain a lot of their items are brought in from expeditions into Zendrick, and they offer some of the finest items that are brought from that continent. So as you're getting closer to the dealers, you see all different dealers, a couple of them that are now waving to you, all smiles. They're looking off towards you and saying, "Come this way, my friends, over here, over here." They have old stuff. All of this stuff is from last season. And the other one's like, "You son of a whore, don't you chase away my customers. No, this way, excuse my foul language. Please come this way, over to my shop. I have wonderful items, all for sale, very nice prices, please." And these two men now are like sort of balling up their fists and shaking them at each other, and then they're grimacing while staring at each other, and then as they turn their attention to look towards the five of you, they're all smiles once again, and hands open, arms open, and very welcoming gestures like, "Come this way, over here, over very quickly. We'll get you in and out. No customers in the store. It's too early right now for you've just beaten the rush hour traffic. Come on."
Is any of those stores? Do I think are they magic store like shops, or are they just regular shops?
To you, they appear to be what looks like some sort of antiquities dealers. Like they seem to deal in various types of weapons and armor that are imported from Zendrick. You can see a lot of, like, you see some tapestries hanging on some of them. Like there's a tapestry that has sort of a strange depiction of like giant culture, and you see images of like dark-skinned individuals which are like underneath in various levels on this tapestry. You see a large giant with blue skin, and below them you can see all these very finely crafted and stitched tapestry of all these dark-skinned individuals and lines that are working underneath the yoke of this larger individual. So it clearly to you looks like this is something that was made in Zendrick and was imported here. And as you look in through the windows, you can see rows and rows of armor and weapons and various types of things. And both men are now looking at you. That they've now started to get closer to each other, and you can hear the hushed voices as they are now arguing, trying to get your attention.
Yes, I'll go into the shop on the left. Watch this, Ender. I want to walk in. Tell me what you have.
Customers, yes, please. Yeah. New customers, come on in. And the man is very skinny. He's kind of gaunt, and he has a bit of a scruff of chin. His skin color is sort of like he's been out in the sun too much. So he has a burnt, like almost tanned, leathery skin, and he sort of says, welcome to my shop. Welcome, friends, one and all of you. Please, what can I do for you today on this fine day?
Well, I have two things. I have a good friend here. He is looking for a what kind of sword was it?
I'm gonna walk up in front of him and just kind of have my hands on my two swords, and I'm going to take them out and say, I'm looking for longer swords.
Longer swords?
He's
Katanas.
looking for-
Katana. Oh,
Yeah.
oh yes,
Magical.
I've heard of those types of weapons. Of course, I might have something of that nature somewhere within the shop. I'll need to look, of course. Katana, you say? That's a very unique weapon. Not really a Zendrically origin, but that doesn't mean that I don't have it. Let me take a look real quick, and I'll be right back. And as he begins to recede behind his counter, he turns around and he opens up this curtain, and behind the curtain, you can just see like beyond a storage room with like shelves and racks, and he disappears behind the counter and into the room. And as he does, the silken drape just falls and he disappears out of view, and you're now standing within his shop, all quite alone. There doesn't appear to be any individuals currently perusing the shop, and you could just see, as you look out the window, you can see the other man, who is now hands on his hips, just sort of grimacing, looking in your direction, sort of a look of spite on his face.
Yes.
I'm gonna look back at Lathana and suggest you could go see if he has any leather armor.
Well, hold on. I'm gonna ask this guy first. We'll trust me. It's a part of the play.
So after a few moments, a man comes out and he opens up the curtain. He's now carrying a couple of really nice dark wood boxes, and he starts placing them on the counter in front of him. And the first one he opens up, you can see, is a very ornate looking sword, which does not appear to be a longsword at all. This appears to be some sort of scimitar. And he says, this one right here, this is an excellent weapon. Trust me, my friend. This is one that you will definitely want to add to your collection. And this one, and he gestures to the other box, which is a little bit longer. He opens it up, and you now see a katana, which it is truly a katana. The wooden design is sort of intricate, and you can see now that there are runes carved into the wood, the scabbard, the hilt of the weapon itself, and you can just see that as he begins to lift it out and pulls it apart, you can see now the blade is of a purple hue.
Yes, that's what I was hoping for. I'm going to hide my amusement because I'm trying to bluff along with Eli here.
Can I see that, please?
Oh, of course. And he hands the item over to you, Eli.
Is it magical?
I don't know, is it? Do you ask him?
Well, I'm as Eli. I'm looking. Do I see any signs of magic? Am I being fooled, basically?
I mean,
It is purple. I mean, come on, dude. It's purple.
You never know.
I mean, if you let the half-orc buy this without your help, he'd buy the whole... Yeah, I'd spend my whole
And this is Eli in his head. Like, he's looking at it. Does it look magical?
It looks like a very well-crafted longsword.
I'm going to look over at Eli and say, it's purple.
I'm gonna cast Detect Magic.
Okay, how long does that take?
One action.
One action?
Yep.
All
A
right.
second. Well, like 6 seconds.
Okay. You're fairly certain that this, what you have before you, is essentially what counts as a +2 longsword.
Oh boy, it's going to be so much money.
And how much is this katana worth?
Oh, my friend, this is a wonderful price that I have this for you today. Let's see. it's been on my shelves for a while. The previous owner didn't want anything to do with it. This is I could have this gold
I
for
scoff at that remark like I'm offended.
3,000
Previous owner.
3,000 gold galifars, and it'd be yours.
3,000. Hold on. All right.
Yes.
I'm gonna see if I can make a deal. Lafana, you said you were looking for something as well.
Oh yes, I'm looking for some kind of armor that changes shape or appearance. Like I could be wearing a nice.
I mean, like some mithril chain. I could possibly scavenge up something. I'm sure they could find something. That's what it sounds like to me. You're looking for some mithril.
Does it change and blend into the background, or can change to like a fancy evening dress?
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about, young lady. Oh, no, I'm afraid I don't deal in that sort of thing. The gentleman who sells that sort of armor and garment, if you will, is not been seen in quite some time. It's his off season. He doesn't usually spend too much time here in the summer.
Okay.
But I do have some lovely mithril armor. And he begins gesturing now to the racks of different types of armor that he has around. Some of which look like they have a little bit of a layer of dust, not on the armor itself, but on the holder that the armor is affixed to. Like maybe he hasn't dusted it in a little while.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Oh, no problem, no problem. Let me turn my attention back to you, fine gentleman. So the sword you were interested in purchasing, yes?
Yes. Me and my friend are gonna think about this. And
Oh, okay. Well,
it's a
don't
big
think too-
purchase.
I totally understand, but don't think on it too long. No one has purchased it in quite some time, but you know, collectors come in
That's true.
all the time, every day, looking for items. Just the other day, I sold a lovely piece to a family. It was a series of double-bladed scimitars from Zendrick. Those were just amazing pieces, and they loved them.
Oh, yeah.
What's your name?
My name?
Yes.
My name is Relnik.
Relnik. My name is Goender.
Go in
What's
there.
the lowest price?
Pleasure
What's
to
the
meet
lowest price you can go on this sword?
Haggler, well, you know, I do run a business, but I haven't sold this one. I've had it for quite some time now. I could possibly lower the price on it a bit. Oh, I could knock up of 500 gold, and I could let it go for 2,500.
Could you knock off more if I offered a trade?
Oh, it depends on the trade, my friend. What kind of trade was you thinking of?
Well, I'm not sure if you're able to sell this, but I'm going to go ask Guinea for the Warforged head.
You're asking Gunthro for the Warforged head, which he left back at the tavern?
Oh, he didn't. I thought he had everything.
He gave that to
No.
He gave that to Renaer.
All right, then I'm gonna look back. I'm gonna go back in and offer my two swords along with it. Or not my two swords, but my longsword, my katana.
Hold on, Ender. Hold on. We gotta think about this. It's a big purchase. Trust me.
All right, I'm going to listen to
Alright.
to Eli.
We're gonna walk out, and then walk in the other store.
You're gonna walk out and go in the other store?
Yeah, I want to.
I'm
And as you begin
I'm gonna listen.
begin to walk out, the man says, "Oh, my friends, please come back. I am a reasonable man. I'll tell you what. I can let this go for 2,000 gold. How does that sound? Not a penny less. I can't go any further. And I can promise you this: Boric will not have a single item that you're looking for in his shop. You hear me? And he sort of makes a rude gesture at the man through the window, the rotund man that's across the way in the other shop. Ah, back at you, Rolnick!
I'm gonna stop and look at, and kind of like, all right, hold on, and I'm gonna cast a message in my head to the other guy and ask him, does he have a magical katana for how much? And he can reply to this message.
And the man says to you, I sell all sorts of weapons and armor, much better than Relnick, better than anything he will ever try to sell you. The man is a swindler, and he will continue to swindle you and try to suck money out of you the longer you stay within his shop.
Can I roll an inside check if I believe him?
On your message? On the message that's good? Sure, go ahead.
All right. This is bad. I'm 12.
Oh yeah, he sounds absolutely genuine. This man sounds like he kind of reminds you a little bit of your uncle in a little ways. Like this man sounds like he's on the up and up. Like he knows what he's talking about. Like he's he's convinced that Relnick is a swindler.
I'll send it again. I'll say, okay, do you have a magical katana? And I describe it. For what's your price?
Can I, for a moment, can I also do insight to see if Elric, what's his name again?
Relnick.
If Relnick is being, if he's being, if he's being truthful, if he's not ripping me off.
Truthful on what? What are you trying to roll on insight?
2,000 seems like it's pretty cheap for a +2 weapon.
He's already dropped the price twice. He appears to be desperate to sell it to you. He's already knocked 1,000 gold off.
I feel like it's inexpensive too. I feel like 2,000 is pretty cheap. But I'm also an orc, and I don't know much about currency. I just know that it's 250 gold more than what I have.
Hold on, just trust me.
The other gentleman is continuing to. He's now saying to. He's like, this man will rip you off. You don't want to buy from him. You want to buy from me. And he's just going on and on and on and on and on. He's not really like answering your question about what kind of weapons he's got.
So I walk back up to the counter. Listen, I was talking to the other guy across the shop. He said he has a katana for 1,500. Will you match that price? I will buy it right now for 1,500 gold.
That
your shop, because you are way better than him. Way better. I know your magic stuff is legit. And we will be returning customers to you.
That son of a Karnathi whore doesn't have anything like what I sell. I can promise you that. Now, if you want to take your business elsewhere, go right ahead. I'm sure I'll find someone eventually who will be more than happy to pay premium price for this wonderful item, which is super rare, I might add. It's very difficult to find a Bieshk metal katana. I can promise you that. And he is now closing the box up, and he's grabbing the other box and closing it. And sort of closing the boxes together.
Ender stops the whole conversation, and I look back at the party, and I say, I need a loan.
I'll help you. I'll help you out.
All right, just give me 1 second, and I actually walk over to the other store, go up to the counter, and I'm like, so, magical katanas? How much?
I trust this guy. Like, Ender is going to buy it no matter what. He's not leaving the store.
The rotund man is now looking at you, and he's looking at you, but now his eyes are starting to drift down to your chest area. I don't really sell.
She's gonna come stomping back and saying,
katanas. I don't sell katanas per se. I have some nice broadswords. I have a couple of great swords. I have some shikri. Shikri are pretty popular from Zindrik. But no katanas, I'm afraid. And he's continuing to stare at your chest.
As he does
hasn't looked up.
She pulls out one of her throwing daggers that is right on her leg and slams it on the table.
Oh, his eyes immediately like go wide, and his eye snaps up to your face. It's like, I'm so sorry. Oh, it's been a long morning already. I apologize. I have a little bit of a headache.
Is he
you're
telling me
asking-
the truth?
You can make an insight check.
Alright. And I am sorry if I keep interrupting. That's a 10.
He seems like he's pretty sincere. He truly believes that he is staring at your chest because he has a headache.
She pulls out her throwing dagger, kind of twirls it around, puts it back in the strap on her leg, and
There's no need for that. You could trust Bull. Come here, please. You are looking for a special weapon, yes?
she's already out.
He's now reaching. He's like, please come back.
Bye. She just leaves.
Okay.
My first instinct in this was to trust the man behind the counter with the sword I really, really want. It's been so hard for me to be quiet. So the Ender is like uncontrollable at this moment. He's turning almost red-faced.
He is now backing away and turning with both boxes in his hands.
It's like
Please,
it's
let's
like I
talk
just
about
met
this.
the love of my life. It's like you guys are telling me no, don't go talk to her, and I'm sitting at a bar and I'm about to go talk to her, but you guys are like, no, don't go talk to her. I'm talking to her. You can't stop me. I need a
Ender-
loan.
Oh, please come back. We will pay the 2,000.
Oh, now you want my business. Well, I'll
It will
tell
be-
you what. I can let it go for 2,200. 200 for pissing me off and wasting my time. And he begins to set the box on the counter now and opens it up.
I'll help you, Ender, because I made the mistake. I was trying to. You don't owe
Your
me.
heart was in a good place. I appreciate it, friend. But I want that sword.
Eli,
pay-
there's that ring you want. I don't have anything I want at this moment. I'll help him.
And I'll chip in too. And she goes up to Eli and whispers in his ear, yeah, the other guy, the ain't got shit.
Okay.
So I need about 400 gold pieces. I don't know math, I'm not good at,
Well,
you know,
I hope Omar-
financials. I give the whole bag over, and I'm just like a child wanting that sword so badly.
I like take his bag and I count it, and I'm like, alright, for real, it's my fault. I feel bad. I will pay 400. You owe me nothing, Ender.
You can half of my next payment. I'll give you half of my next pay.
I'll just take the 400. I'll just take the 400 you owe me next payment. That's fine.
I want you to have that ring, but I need this. I need this
I know.
this sword.
And I slide the gold over to him.
And I take 105 out of my pouch and give it to Eli. That's for helping, plus the 5 gold you've been paying to the sky coaches.
Okay.
I don't like to owe anyone, you know. You never know if you'll be...
Ender, you now.
I'm going to.
Ender, you are now pretty broke. You've got 77 silver pieces and 139 copper pieces to your name.
Yeah, but I have this beautiful, beautiful sword.
You
This
do
katana
have.
is gorgeous. It's totally worth it. I'm going to as I take the item from this man's hands, I'm going to thank him, and I'm going to promise him my patronage from henceforth. I appreciate someone that knows how to deal in the things I need.
Ender, you
And I'm going to apologize about my party's rudeness. We are good people. They just want what's best. Don't be offended. And I'm going to grab that sword and skip out like a schoolgirl.
Ender, hold on. Do you use 2 swords or just one?
Just one.
Okay.
Okay.
But I stop at that moment and I turn around and I say, but what if I needed 2?
Do you dual wield or just single wield?
I triple wheeled. How much money do you have, Eli? I walk back in the store, looking at everything.
Well,
I'm looking at halberds. I'm looking at new bows. I'm looking at arrows. I can sit. I'm like a girl in a shoe shop, dude.
Ari, are you sure there's nothing that you could use as a staff, potions?
I'm quite alright right now. I use my claws mostly, and honestly, I think we should probably get going pretty soon, so if somebody needs something else, we should get on it.
Yeah, it's approximately 11 o'clock now.
Okay, Gunny, you shop whatever I get. I don't know what he needs, to be honest with you.
Gunny has wandered off. He's out in the midst. He is currently picking up little children and picking them up by their hair and lifting them up in the air, and then dropping them. And they're all laughing hysterically and keep running up to him, saying, "Again, again!" All right, that sword is now in your inventory, Ender.
Question real fast.
Thank you.
Do you sell pearls by any chance?
Pearls?
Yes.
I mean, I don't deal in jewelry. I have some jewelry made from bone, things that are handcrafted from Zindrik, but I don't really deal in jewelry per se. That for something like that, you'd want to go to possibly a magic shop. You're looking for components, yes?
Yes.
Something to use, and you look like a magic type, yes. Yes, you'd want to visit a magic shop for something like that.
Okay. And where's a magic shop anywhere close by? Within walking distance?
Not over here, unfortunately. I mean, that sort of thing is not really held within this area. Although I imagine if you had a friend within the university district, you might be able to find someone who perhaps might be able to provide you with something, or perhaps if you were an actual student of the university, they might loan out something of that nature to you.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. And he's just staring at you with a sly smile, counting y'all's money.
All right, let's go. Oh, you're right. It's time. Sorry. Taking too long.
May I use my ring to contact Gunthril to tell him that he needs to get together with us so we can leave?
Yes, you raise your ring up, and the dragon shard, Sybaris dragon shard, begins to flash orange as you call out into the ring, and Gunthril says, "I'll be right there." And the little kids, you just hear off in the distance, you just hear the Gunthril say something in his guttural voice, and you hear all these kids go, "Aww! Wait, don't leave!" And Gunthril begins trudging off away from the children, comes back to the shop. "Well, where are we going now?"
Well, by the time, shouldn't we head toward the Myriad Tower?
I agree, Ari. I think we should go.
That's good.
Okay. How would you like to get to Myriad Tower?
Taxi! Taxi!
And
Latana's waving her hands and...
a very short amount of time, you're able to wave down another sky coach. This one similar to that of what looks like just a flying rowboat, large enough to accommodate the entire party. And there is a young woman who is sitting behind the controls, and she says, "Hello, yes. My name is Esvel. I'll be happy to take you anywhere you wish to go." It's a whole lot of silence. What's up with that?
We're headed toward the Myriad Tower. How long is it going to take to get there?
I can get you there in about 20 minutes, maybe less, with traffic.
Great. How much will that be?
Oh, a couple silver sovereigns, that's all. We're on the up and up, and she shows you her her badge from House Lorandar, which shows that she's an official driver, sky coach driver for the city.
Fantastic. Everyone, get in. Let's go. I'll give her 5 silver.
Okay. She pulls her mask off and says, "Ha ha ha! I can kill another Aisha." No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I'm sitting here like, hold up.
Her name is actually Esvel.
I'm over here talking to Derek like, wait. Hold up.
All right. Very uneventful ride. You're able to ferry yourselves from 7th Tower across the expanse between the wards, and you find yourselves in Upper Tamvik's Landing within the Ocean View area, which is a very wealthy residential district. And as you settle into the area, the Sky Coach touches down. You all exit the vehicle, and you're now standing close to, if not directly next to, the section where Myriad Tower is located, which is stretching up into the sky. You can see that it stretches up several levels to what appears to be some sort of enclosed area, sort of like a rectangular glass domed area. From your viewpoint on the ground, you can see that there's this large area that's like almost like a light greenish glass, a series of windows that stretch around the edges. Like the entire wall and ceiling is made of glass up above you. And as you approach the exterior of the northeastern part of the area, you can see that there are a series of stairs that are blocked by a heavy iron gate, which appears to be locked, and you don't see any obvious guard within the area.
Well, does anyone have the time? Maybe we're early or late.
Already. Let's see. Eli, do you know the
What time does the thing say?
noon?
It's pretty close to. It's like a few minutes shy. It's like around 11:25.
Yeah, 11:25 around that. We're a little early, but you know, I say being early is on time, right? Am I right? Yeah, yeah.
Well, since we're a bit early, I guess I could do this on my own, but remember that broadcast this morning?
Let's see. So, Ari, Gunthrel, and Lethana, you notice that not too far away, and in alcove, you all see what appears to be some sort of figure, and he appears to be wearing tattered rags, and he has in his hands, he's holding out a clay bowl as you get closer to him.
Kind of a strange looking fella, don't you think? What do you think he's up to?
I give him a good once over.
And he appears to be just giving him a quick once over, looking him up and down. Appears to be a beggar. Nothing too out of the ordinary about him. He's leaning in this alcove. He doesn't have any shoes on. His feet are dirty, and he has this very crudely made clay bowl. And when you get closer to him, he's now holding the clay bowl out, and he's not looking at you. He's looking straight ahead.
Is he standing by stairs?
He's not directly near the iron gate and stairs. He's a little bit away from it, like in a little alcove. Like on the exterior of the wall of the tower leading up, there's like a series of alcoves, And in some of the alcoves, you can see like a few like stacked like crates and boxes. And he's in an area of one of the alcoves where there's no boxes or crates. He's all by himself.
I think we should walk up to him.
You can't truly believe that's the guard.
Well, they said discreet.
Appearances aren't everything, and I'm gonna walk up.
Okay. As you get closer, the man, still not staring, not looking in your direction, he's holding up the clay bowl. Like his arm is outstretched towards you. Whoever is closest to him.
I'm gonna look at him. Are we close up to him?
Yeah, you're right in front of him, not too far away from him.
V mean anything to you?
And the man just stares straight ahead and says nothing.
I'll drop a sovereign in his cup, in his bowl.
Okay. When you drop the silver sovereign in his bowl, he begins to shake his head slowly, and he says, in a very low, rumbling voice, but strong, not something that you would expect from a beggar. You just hear him say, "Wrong key." And then he continues to hold the bowl out towards you.
I put the parchment.
The letter?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In the bowl. The
moment you place the sheet into the bowl, that has the notes and the ornate V, the beggar begins to nod his approval, and he says, "Go up. The captain is waiting for you." And as soon as he says that, you hear the sound of a lock clack sort of releasing, and the iron gate swings open, providing access to the stairs.
Let's go. And I kind of quickly, let's go.
Oh, you see.
And the man, as you begin to walk away from the man sort of like rubs his fingers together over the paper, and the parchment bursts into flames. Turns into ash. So you're all heading upstairs now?
Yes, we are, and Ender's Discord is broken for a second.
Ender's Discord is broken?
Yeah.
Aw.
He's restarting it.
Okay. Well, I will continue. He cannot hear me, right?
No, but
I'm
maybe
back.
now.
I'm back.
There you go.
Okay.
Sorry about that. It's just crashed.
That's okay. So the staircase takes you up to the top of the tower, and there is a series of stairs that wind around, and there is an enclosed there's a series of doors that take you through, and as you pass through the last series of doors, it opens up into some sort of enclosed greenhouse, and the glass ceiling lets in light from outside, and it's very moist and even more humid within here than it is outside in the summer air. And this heat, this thickness, it fills the entire chamber. And sitting before you at some sort of work table is an old man. And he's right at the edge of this sort of indoor jungle. You see large plants and trees and vegetation of all sorts that are spread throughout this space. And this pale and gaunt man, he has an arrangement of what appears to be orchids in a vase. And there's various gardening implements that are covering this work table. And he has a silver cane with a satchel that's hanging from the back of his chair, and the cane is leaning, just sort of resting against the table. And as you enter into the room, he says to you, "I am Vior Milek. Welcome to my little piece of the wild. And who might you all be?"
Hello, sir. I'm Ari, and might I say it's just absolutely beautiful in here.
Oh, thank you, young Ari. Always a pleasure to meet someone who appreciates the vegetation, the finer things in life.
Ender is going to bow and introduce himself as Ender.
Ender, nice to meet you. Gunthro will make a similar gesture of identifying himself.
Eli.
Lathana just gives a curt nod and says, Lathana.
Lathana, Eli, good to meet both of you. Now, I assume if you're here, you received my missive, my message.
Yes, we did indeed.
Oh, very well, it's all good. I have a job for you. A job that will make you all very rich. And as he says that, he begins to reach into his satchel and he begins pulling out potion vials and placing them on the work table in a neat row. And he says, "Yeah, if you'll indulge me, there's a bit of an audition. It's a simple matter. There's a wild Gorellin from Zendrick in my greenhouse. I'd like you to defeat it without killing it. Unconscious is fine, bleeding is fine, magically subdued is fine, just don't kill it. And these are healing potions. Use them however you like. Oh, do be careful. Horus is quite carnivorous and very hungry." And I will put these potions into the party's inventory.
I'm sorry, Jeremy. What was this enemy?
He told you that there is a wild Gorellin, or Gorellin, in his greenhouse, and he wants you to find it and subdue it.
I do not know what a Gorillin is. I look back at my party.
I have no idea what.
Well, Mr. Renaer,
I guess we're looking at our party's druid. Maybe, hopefully, she's heard of it. She's looking at me puzzled, saying, "How do I know?" How would she know if she knows what it is?
That would be a history check.
You said history, right?
Yes.
Good.
How
An
much?
enemy we're all capable of fighting. As soon as we figure out what this enemy is.
A Gorellin, Ari, from your knowledge, sounds like a big monkey. Like an ape. Kind of sounds like sort of sounds like a gorilla. Or maybe even a dire ape. Much larger ape. It appears to sound like a large creature. A large ape-like creature.
I believe it's some sort of large ape.
Those potions are now in the party sheet inventory, by the way, if you want them.
So wait, it's kind of in this area we're in right now.
Correct.
Hey, Gunny.
And I will share a map with you guys.
Once we complete the task, how much gold is involved?
The old man has now stepped back and he is silent. He is now walking towards the exit and closing the door behind him, and he says with a smile, "Oh, good luck."
Oh, what payment? What's our payment?
The door closes behind him, and you could hear an audible locking noise.
I think this is a classic test to see if we're capable of of doing the next task.
Hey, Gandro.
Yeah?
Do you happen to have some kind of ability that if something dies, it like comes back to life automatically?
I mean, yeah, I could.
I've heard it somewhere called like Death Ward or some.
And he sort of thinks for a moment. And I know it.
Okay, well then.
And when he says he knows it, he means I know of it.
Oh, well. I guess get ready. Hey, Gunny, you want to take all the healing potions?
Well, in that case, I need everyone to roll for initiative.
Just letting you guys know, I probably do need to head off pretty soon.
Well, in that case, I think that this is a good stopping point.
Hey, Jeremy.
Hey, Bethana.
Too much to ask that Lathana has a joke book, like a book of jokes, in her back.
I mean, you can have whatever you want in your backpack. Within reason, any mundane item.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, you shouldn't have heard